Righto.
Right, we're back on again now.
Yes, I can hear the...
Oh, this is going to cause some complications, I fear.
So do I.
It's okay as long as...
All the time.
Beggars?
Can't you...
I can listen. I'll listen off there. Listen off record. That's better.
Yes.
Now, is that buzz mission's my emitters arcing? I don't know.
We're not going to get buzz on 6 again.
I've just gone off. No, it's gone back on again. I think the emitters is seeing its last days, actually.
Yes, the old
cabinet emitters.
Clothes dryer.
I just better go and have a clothes valves.
To a clothes dryer.
It's about all it's good for, I'm afraid.
Oh, you've got super low frequency. Oh no, it must have been somebody.
It's not on fire. It's not on fire just at the moment, but
when
it loses bias, it does in fact, by all intents and purposes, actually catch on fire.
Does it?
Yes, which isn't very good indeed.
No, I can't imagine it would be.
But that's the situation. Oh, bad things have happened to me. Bad things. I'm so upset.
What?
My most recent denser microphone.
Yes.
Has had the Williams.
Oh no.
Yes.
And what's happened?
I better do something before I do all this.
Yes. Ding.
The quality may not be too good tonight because we're using an auxiliary desk.
Good evening, if that's the branch too. I can't tell.
Is he on 18 something?
Well, it's just somebody comes on with about a 40 cycle beat.
Oh, it could be the branch.
A couple of times.
Let's hope we're not going to have an interference factor on 6 that was fearing all last night.
Yes.
The branch and everything.
Yes,
it's a real nuisance.
If it is the branch listening, it wasn't either of us.
That's right, and I was getting quite sickened by all your remarks about who you thought it was and everything. Quite revolting branch.
Oh, yes, absolutely disgusting. We are disgusted. Crackle mission.
Oh, it's just the emitters having a wreck.
We're going to do well tonight, I see.
Oh, we might. We might. It's not on my carrier at all. My carrier is completely clean, so don't really know what to make of that.
Interference getting into 6.
It certainly is. Hang on. I don't know whether it's my emitters doing it, because looking at my crows go on.
It's here, actually.
It's up your end, is it?
Yeah, but it's just RF interference. It's gone now.
That's gone, has it?
It's just, you know...
Interference that one gets.
Yes.
That these complex...
QRM.
Just things that these complex crossband contacts tend to indicate, tend to get to happen occasionally, don't they?
Mm.
Could you watch the time and give me a reminder every 5 seconds? Because we wouldn't want to get done by anybody.
Interference is on.
Interference? What do you mean?
Can't you hear it?
No. You mean blocking me out?
No. On 6, can't you hear that?
There's no interference on 6.
Oh, it's gone there.
Not a thing.
I thought we were going to get interference. I could actually hear that interference here last night. So I don't know who it was.
I think it's somebody with rather... Now, who do we know who's got a tunable rig? Mr. Tinnies is somebody it could be.
A suspect.
I'll just show you how bad my denser microphone is.
Yes.
And while I'm doing it, I'll just plug in this cheap Namek
blow up your
emitters.
We'll put that to heaven.
Anyway, I'll just plug in the denser microphone. Stand by. Now, this is what happens when I approach to plug in the denser mic.
Sounds like mission control at Cape Kennedy. Oh. A buzz. Oops.
If you're listening, hear my denser microphone, hear how thin it sounds.
Yes.
Now, it either sounds thin like that, so it's all wrecked for some reason. It's got no... Anyway, suffice to say,
yes, don't try it again.
that denser microphone, for some reason, it's taking off at some funny frequency and causing square wave to get in. So I don't know.
How did you work that one? Anyway,
It must be I'd think there must be something wrong with the something wrong with the microphone. The little fet must be having a fetish or something in there, and having a little oscillation.
Oh well.
Here we go. Here we go.
Oh, the branch came on a moment ago too.
Could be the branch. Oh, cord's tangled.
Oh, they stopped. Maybe
Hang on.
it was the
Hello. Oh yes, Bernard.
Oh, look, I've got channel B on it. Or I better turn it off. So do I.
Well, that's good. Could you just
Stand by.
I'll tell you what. Could you just say that now, and it'll be relayed through. Go ahead, there, Bernard.
Okay. Well, the Ference last night was doing it on 160 as well, trying desperately to break in there, Tony. So that's what it was. I heard it in Dandenong. It was just copyable over you, Tony, in Dandenong last night. So that's what happened last night. It wasn't Dave as you suspected it might be there, Tony. So that's all I rang up for, really.
Guess who that was, Paul, on the phone?
Who was it?
It was Bernard.
Was it?
Our friend Bernard up in Dandenong.
Bernard Bowles.
Bernard Bowles, art survey man. And he just rang up to tell me that the Ference last night on 6N2, because remember, Lionel has broken in on us before. He's got an AM missions.
Ah.
So I think it's we'll just have to tell the branch about that. Let him hear that little segment from Bernard, who was good enough to let us know there, and keep me out of trouble with the branch, because I'm not in very good light with the branch.
Why did you get that impression?
Well, I don't know. I just seem to think that the branch doesn't like me very much. I don't know if you get that impression, but I seem to be the black sheep of the 160 metre mission department. The G's don't like me, and the branch doesn't like me, so there's nobody there.
Nobody likes you.
So I don't really know what the situation is.
Speaking of the branch,
yes.
He came on when you went down to turn the mids all back on again.
Did he have anything to say?
Well, he wanted me to ask you why there's so much bass there tonight.
Well,
what have you done?
The reason is
formers?
I've just got no formers. I just threw the Akai.
No formers at all.
That's the same Mickey formers.
Oh.
But the missions are just going through the Kai quarters to the mitters.
So there's no intermediate fires that ruin all the bass.
It is going through the bi-amplifiers, of course, but that doesn't matter. But I haven't got the... well, I'll tell you another reason too, which is probably the reason why. I'm using my wrecked condenser microphone, the one that's insensitive, and as a result I'm practically swallowing the thing, you see. So there's bass tip up there.
He was listening to the test missions just before.
Oh, there was bass on that, because I corded it off to the Astor receivers with the bass and treble wound full up. I realise I shouldn't have done that, because now when I play it back through my emitters, we'll be getting intermod distortions. But did he think there was lots of bass on this missions at the moment, the ordinary missions, or just the...
Oh, he just mentioned it on the end of the test. He only heard the last 30 seconds of it.
Fair enough. Good. Well, and the branch would know about the Ference coming from Lionel, so Lionel should have more brains and try and break in on a crossband.
He was going for about an hour. Of course, John didn't help. John never goes off whenever anyone tries to break in.
I must admit, John is some form of problem as well, because he could have moved up. Now, say if I had wanted to work unions, he couldn't move up because he was sitting in his chair or some stupid excuse like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Well. I'm just going to plug in the Jackie Leeson mic, see if you like this one.
What? Oh. What were you in for?
Yes, I've got the Leeson microphone now with speaking the same distance. Gee, this is deaf, this Leeson. It's deafer than the...
So you swallow the mic.
It's just what they used to use at the high school PA system, actually. They used to use one of these, not at Leeson, but it looked exactly the same, the sort of Bill Ikes they used at the school. No, it wasn't a Zephyr. I think it was a fairly expensive one, actually.
Oh, must have been an ACOS one.
But it was used because it's very directional, you see, and it's very good for PA systems because it's very insensitive, and I'll just talk into the wrong side of it. There we are, I'm talking to the wrong side of it. Now, isn't that incredible? It's just nothing on the wrong side, and now I'm talking right up to the screen of the wrong side of the mic. And of course, if I go around the other side, I'll probably turn the emitters off. But I used to know what happened. They used to put the mic up on stage with the black side facing the speaker, And of course, they turn the gain up a slight amount and get feedback because the sensitive part was pointing to the hall, and you couldn't hear the Wally T doing his speaks or the hunk or anyone.
Was that before you were in charge of PAs and things?
Oh no, this is times when I came late and wasn't able to do it.
But couldn't you rush out halfway through and say, there'll be a slight pause for technical adjustments?
Well, this is what used to happen sometimes. There was one stage, there was a bad microphone lead, internal wiring to the steams, and while the hunks were speaking, I had to go out there, and in between a word, I had to pull out of one socket and run across the hall with a Gary Ord and plug into another socket without losing the phrase of the context, so it was quite interesting. And of course, in the office, they might be speaking, someone might have twisted the microphone around, so the sensitive side's pointing towards the typewriter, and you hear this weak hunk announcement, and this typewriter noise coming through at full modulation. So it's quite hilarious, really.
Oh dear.
Yes. One advantage of having an insensitive microphone like this is that the tings don't come through.
Oh, I just heard them.
They did they?
Quite well.
Oh well, they don't come through as well then, that's what I should say. But that's
For any tinging fiends that might be listening?
Yes, fiends of tings.
Give it away.
Give it away, chaps. It's serving a useful purpose. I'll just go back to the other mic because I do like it better. I think it's got more bass.
It's got more treble too.
Oh, good. I'll go back to it. I'll just go back to that missions now. There we are. It's amazing how it sounds much better than the $10 Leeson. With all these wrecked microphones I've bought, if I had just saved up and bought one good AKG mic,
Yes.
I'm pretty sure the next Bilikes I get will be something like an AKG, one of those ice cream cone mics or something like that. Although you can buy 77DXs I've seen for about $70, and they're really crash hot ribbon Bilikes.
Yeah.
And
you go.
and they wreck, and you've got to go and buy another one.
Wouldn't it worry you? You can't put it outside on a windy day?
It would just go, and its little ribbon would go through. I'll just go and get my clock so I can tell what time it is.
Might have to go
And
buy
also
yellow
not
ribbon.
overrate the time.
Oh, yes, sorry, I forgot about that. Good evening, Brad, how are you?
There, I'm back again. Oh, anyway, let's hear from you. I've been just raving on like
what
a G.
did Bernard say about this 15kc tone that keeps coming on?
Oh, it's probably just somebody coming up doing missions.
Like the branch. What did Bernard say was his reason for not coming up 2 metres anymore?
Oh, he thinks, well, he's finally realised that 2 metres is a bit of a drag.
Yeah.
Like the first couple of weeks you come on the air, you come on 2 metres, you have a barrel of laughs. But after a while you realise that it's a drag.
Like too many cigarettes.
That's right.
And so he's just sick of it, is he?
He's just sick of... He doesn't even borrow the Ken phone from the Institute anymore.
Oh dear. Because I had Channel B all ready for him tonight. And now we can't use it. Isn't that a pity?
Poor Mr. Bernard. Oh, well, Bernard,
I suppose
try
he can
again.
clean up his bowls and...
Yes, I suppose he's got plenty to do. Well, he's a busy man there at the Institute.
The Institute?
Yeah.
Oh, that one, yes. Thought you meant the other one.
Other institute? What other institutes are there? Institute of Bad Knocks? Of Hard Knocks?
The wireless one.
Oh, the wireless
The one
institute.
without wires.
I see, yes. Yes, I agree. Now, what further comments to make now? Oh, that's right. I'll just unplug this mic. We haven't had a proper crossband for a long time.
Quite some time now. Every time we try it,
The mitters goes for a wreck.
that's it. It just goes off.
The mitters
Everyone-
goes for a wreck.
Yes, everyone just goes off in a
Or you get
fit of rage.
Or you get jam missions. I've just been doing lots of interesting things downstairs.
Like
Looking at
turning
these...
amplifiers up full.
No. Looking at ancient movie missions.
Ah, yes.
Fixed up the 9.5 ejectors
Uh-huh.
and put a 100-watt quartz iodine lamp in there. And it's got one of these glass parabolic reflectors, you see. It doesn't need a denser lens, and it's really brilliant. And all these ancient things, you see these T-model Fords driving up and down sand dunes and all this sort of jazz.
What?
Yeah, and they're really ancient, but they come out really well. When you consider that they're, pre-war vintage, some of them.
Yes. Your family must have been rather rich if they could have afforded it.
Well, I don't really think so. I mean...
I don't know how popular those sort of things were then.
Well, let's say it was fairly expensive, but I suppose we were just in the forefront of the media at that time. Yes.
Can't quite make that comment, but anyway.
I can't make it either. But it is quite good to look at these ancient things, and
yes,
they're preserved exceptionally well, really. They're quite scratched and everything, but they've probably been shown a million times. And I must...
The old Pathé.
Yeah, pathetic. There's about 6 reels of really old stuff. I'll have to go through it and edit out and just get the best, because a lot of people just, people I wouldn't have a clue who they were, and scenes of that's right, and scenes of the countryside and stuff, which is so blurry you can't make of it. But the things, there's a picture of Canberra before it was, it was just a paddock, and there's a few historic things there. So we might just edit it down and make a one reel, and it's what you could say compiled from the ASE archives. It's all scratchy and everything. Just looks like these old things you have on the TV about the Second World War or something.
Yes.
And it looked quite a laugh.
I see.
It would tend to indicate that in those days, the developing technique or the actual design, chemical of the films weren't very good, because one shot will be perfect, the next shot will be all sepia, like the colour temperature changes, the whole works.
Oh, I see. Yes.
So they mustn't have been very standard.
They're all black and white, of course.
There is some really early colour stuff.
There is?
About 1950 vintage colour.
Oh, what's it look like? It's all wrong, I suppose.
It looks a bit like a colour TV that's got there's colour guns all out of missions. It's it's not particularly good. But anyway, it's rather interesting to look at. Yes.
Pathé colour.
Yes.
I've yet to see a good Pathé colour film, actually.
What, they're rather poor, are they?
All of them are.
Yeah.
I have yet to see one that's good.
I see. Oh.
Maybe they just don't know how to process films.
Do they still do films, or are they out of business or something?
Actually, most of the TV programs are now in Technicolor.
Oh, are they really? I see.
They used to. A lot of them used to be in Pathé. Or what's another very popular one? Metrocolour.
Metrocolour.
Which is all grainy.
Is it really?
Super Grainsville.
I'll just tune you in so we don't get so much hiss on the missions here. I'll just listen off program line so I can hear more of the hiss without being limited by the letters. It's amazing how you're pretty quiet signal, considering you're only well, I could do good light beam missions with you. Is that close? I'll just turn your gain up a little bit. Anyway, the tricorder is working quite good as a fairly miniature mixer here with 2 inputs. Actually, if I paralleled the stereo outputs, I'd have 4 inputs. Which, say, if somebody paid visitations, I could plug the Leeson into the right hand, and then plug the right hand.
You mean to say you're asking them to?
Oh, not particularly.
What do you have?
Oh no.
Oh dear.
Oh, I've got to go to work tomorrow at 4:30. Who does it? I think it's the Williams tomorrow, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so. It's,
I heard the Rickman doing the races this afternoon.
Oh yes, he likes doing the sports panel.
Does he?
He sits with this big smile on his face and he goes, "We're now going to cross to Joe Brown in Sydney." And yes,
of course, doing the.
He spends half his time going mad at the commentators through the intercom.
Going.
Well, sort of thing.
Oh, I see.
Anyway, we shouldn't knock that place too much today, because this time of the evening, because the Black could be listening. I know he does listen Saturday nights. So we won't continue that line of discussion.
Actually, I tried to ring you up. I thought you might have been there this morning.
Ah, yes.
And tried to give you tings about 10, but there was nobody there.
Nobody here?
There, at that end.
What, 479 end?
Yes.
Who was it?
Nobody. It just kept ringing. I thought it must have been you because
I wasn't there.
there's nobody there.
Ah, yes.
I rang back 10 minutes late and there's still no answer. And I rang the 478 missions, and they said that they could get you to ring me. And then I said, "Oh, don't worry about it. Whereabouts is he? And I'll ring him up."
Ah, yes.
And they said, I'll give him a message.
Oh.
See, they gave me the impression you were there.
Well, I
said,
wasn't.
"Oh, is he at work or not?" "Oh, I think so." And then he looked on the roster sheet or something and said, "Oh, no, he's not at work today."
Oh, that's very good. Yes. Actually, I know who's at 479 today.
Who?
Jones Missions. That's typical of him not being at the... Oh, well, yes.
While the man that does a lot of walking was busy, always at the glove box, was listening to the bands.
Oh, that's the walking man, yes.
Nobody else listening to the bands.
Probably not.
In the other room.
What a laugh. What? Yes, interesting missions. Talking about this sort of thing, did you watch a certain TV channel during the week? They had a rather an interesting program. You
get onto that.
Yeah, you cue it onto me. That might be the best way, I think. Yes.
I'll just modify the script. Hang on. I don't know these script writers. And they go and get another. Because we'll be listening for Mr. K on Monday. Could be interesting.
Mr. K. Oh.
Mr. K of Frankston.
On a different frequency this time.
Yes, he's on the 1.03 megahertz.
I see. Oh, that should be an interesting missions to listen to.
Yes, I suppose it could be.
Of course, usually. How long will he last on that one?
The person who he's on with doesn't exactly interest me particularly.
No.
Mr. Chewing Gum.
That's right. Yes.
What was I saying? Oh, the other morning I was listening. I've been forced to listen to the E lately.
Forced to listen to the E?
Oh, there's nothing else worth listening to in the morning.
Oh, that's good.
Because the Melbourne has changed frequency.
Oh.
It hasn't been on for the past week, so...
Did you used to listen to that?
Choice. Yes, I did actually.
Was it good or was it better than the E?
I think it was better than the E.
But how can anything be better than the E? The E doesn't have advertisements, which is the main good thing about the E.
I was going to see if I could win a book from him, write an essay about the show.
From the E. Do you know why he made that? Somebody sent him a whole pile of books for free, but he has to get rid of them, or he wants to get rid of them.
Just like pet rocks.
Yes.
Just before I go further, let's see who this person is. There's somebody called Herman Burbley is on 1825. We won't worry about it.
We can imagine
just because 15 kilohertz tone. Sounds like I'm listening to you on a TV or something. Oh, there's a voice there.
I wonder who it is, if it is anybody or not.
Oh, it's Clem.
Oh, poor Clem.
VK.
You can imagine what problem he's trying to get listening to a weak signal.
Yes.
Poor Clem.
Yes, you can imagine for about 5 hours this evening what troubles he would have been having trying to listen to a weak signal.
Poor Clem.
Look, I was just going to leave that going, but I thought... may just be... Oh.
If I stuck a match in the relay, something would overload, and the cabinet would burst into flames, and the door would swing open, and all these relays would burst into flame, and all wire would melt, and then the whole of Caulfield would burn down, as well as Glen Huntly and Brighton. To find there, whoever that is, we acknowledge it as some identified person.
Is it?
Yes.
What I was going to say was, I was listening. I usually don't listen to the news part. I turn it on to something a little lighter.
Don't you like that news?
I'll listen to it the first 5 minutes, and then I get
the news where they go. Anyway.
Then Grace. I think Grace always sounds like he's reading it about 20 times. Sounds like he's reading a commercial news because he's
bored
to get through it so quickly.
Yes.
But at 8 o'clock one morning,
yes.
let's say there were 3 pips two different tones on them.
You're joking.
Then the AM mission suddenly come on. And I thought, who could have done that?
Was this in the last 2 weeks?
It was last Wednesday, I think.
Oh, well,
Or Friday, one or the other, I can't remember. But there were three, the Grice finished, there were 3 pips, and they both sort of went blah.
Do you mean Wednesday this week?
Yeah, it was this week.
There's no doubt of who the person was then.
No. Which was quite amusing, because I thought you might have done it. Oh.
Deliberately.
Yes,
Well, I do these things if people pay me, 50, the regulation 50 guineas. And don't forget about the cold fronts. Not a word to Bessie.
What?
Oh, well, obviously you don't listen to the E-machines all that much then.
No, I'm afraid I don't.
Oh, well.
I find them a bit of a pain.
Oh, I couldn't take the movies of the E.
Why not?
Oh, there wasn't a...
Not enough wine.
Well, the meter didn't even move. But, I don't know what to do about that. It'd be fun to do, but,
You should make a VTR recordings.
Well, you could do that. Oh, that's
Because they
right.
work in normal light.
Have you got the post?
No, I haven't.
Well, apparently there's a VTR quarters for $3.75.
Yes.
Now, what sort of quarters would that be?
I have no idea.
It could be one of these quarter-inch quarters.
Yes, so you can use
Handy.
tape.
Oh, it was hilarious. The folks were watching TV missions the other night, and on it there was this. Oh yes.
Oh,
The Beck is being feared with.
it's not me, it's just yelling going on
Oh, I
outside.
see. Anyway, what happened? There was this police mission, so I had to record somebody's telephone conversation, and to do that they had this big quarters and a reel of Tandy tape. The Tandy reel, the strange-looking
Yeah.
reel. Ah, what a laugh.
Listen cheap.
Yes, they must have.
Cheap tape. Oh, it's actually, I was talking of tape recorders. I was watching a certain program last Wednesday night,
Oh, yes.
and they had an old film clip of It Could Be You, and they had this big old Bio 66 in a cabinet.
Look, I saw that. You're sitting there, and then they press the button on the 66. What a laugh. Because I suppose it would have been quite a new quarters at that stage.
Yes, I suppose they were quite
Yeah, quite
very
good. But isn't it a laugh? They have the quarters like they've had nothing worthwhile to put the camera on, so they just have this quarters going around. Oh, what a laugh, yes.
Yeah, that was a very interesting program.
It was. I thought the bit at the start was about the most interesting.
The bottle cork.
That's right, with the champagne cork there, up in his little booth on the mountain, and apparently he was the first man to have his picture on Melbourne's missions, TV missions there.
Well, what do you know?
It's just as well they saved that clip.
Yes, it's you'd think that. Oh, I suppose then it was such a novelty that they would make recordings of it. But you'd think that if it was done on the spot, all of a sudden the decision was made to come on, that nobody would make recordings.
Well, I think though that a film clip was made. I think it was a telecine job. I think they made the recording so they could play back. I don't think it was a live missions at that stage.
I see.
I think they just filmed it.
They just used the film. They filmed him sitting there at a desk doing that.
Yeah.
Because there wouldn't be enough room for a studio at the Mitters site.
That's right, yes. Because you'd have people like the singer and everything would be walking around with screwdrivers and stuff.
The sewing machine would be trying to fix the missions up.
That's right, revving around. Was a sewing machine there at that stage? Do you know?
I don't know.
He's old enough to have been
Yes,
there.
well, he sounds very old.
That's right.
I suppose he might have revving away there.
Revving away.
How many new belts he's had lately?
Oh, those sewing machines, they don't go through belts. We did have an old Hoover vacuum cleaner that used to go through a belt every half a week, These
Wrecked with it.
one of these upright ones.
Oh, we had with a little light on the front, like at the Southern Aurora.
They actually didn't have a little light, this one, but I know the ones you mean with a little light. Ours was a model previous to that. It had little bakelite wheels at the back that you could scoot along on, and this big rubber brush thing used to go wipe the carpet. And the clutch thing up the top, and a little square panel you could pop off, which was meant so you could insert a new belt when the old one kept wearing out.
I see.
Oh, what a laugh. But it eventually got traded in because the fish saw this TV advertisement about 10 years ago with this certain person advertising one of these...
A Lux.
No, it was one of these round type of vacuum cleaners that floats on air.
Oh.
And they saw this advertisement of this chap demonstrating it on this bit of desk. And they thought it was so good they rushed out and bought one the next day.
It must admit it almost inspired me to go and buy one, except they've been available for about 20 years.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. So it was quite incredible that...
You can't imagine those sort of things would have sold anything, really.
Oh, there wasn't any other sort of advertisements they could do at that stage, I suppose.
No, but it was just so...
They're no worse than the Todd-tisements.
The what tisements?
The Todd-tisements.
Todd-tisements?
Todd.
Oh, Todd, oh, I see, yes. Yes, I must admit when he just throws things around the studio.
They are quite bad, those ones.
Yes, it floats on air. Oh, we used to have an old vacuum cleaner that had a little light on the front.
Oh, yes, the industrial ones have a little light, so you can clean into nooks and crannies and still see what's going on.
It used to give me the creeps because I didn't like this horrible light.
Yeah?
This thing going every time you bashed it into the wall. We eventually traded it in at the place not far from here. It ties us on TV almost.
You don't mean the place that's always right?
Oh, no.
Place that's down the road a bit. It starts with G.
Yes.
Yes, I know the place.
And we bought one there.
They seem to specialise in vacuum cleaners, don't they, that
Yes.
mob?
We bought a Lux.
Oh, I see.
Lux revs away.
I suppose it uses lots of soap.
Yes, and of course if you start pouring the soap on top of the ironing table, the iron loses its footing and falls on the floor.
And cracks in half. Poor little iron.
In the bossy can of spray starch, yes. Anyway, people don't know what we're talking about. They think we've gone completely around the bend.
Well, if they know a certain gentleman, Mr. G, and he's not all that old either.
Mr. G of Gore Hill.
Yes, they'll know what we might just be talking about there. Is the Clem still doing tests?
No, he's coming on and off all the time.
Oh, he must be just testing.
Isn't that interesting? Sorry.
The Clem, well, I wouldn't think much of his chances of being able to copy a very weak signal.
You know, he comes on and says he's testing all the time.
Yes.
It's pretty obvious what he's doing.
Calling CQ.
Yep. I don't know. These people are too ashamed to call CQ or something.
What do you think Clem is too ashamed to call CQ, so he just says he's testing?
He just came on and tested, and all he's doing is sitting there testing for 5 minutes. Nothing's even happening.
Well, I tested for 5 minutes before I came on. I test quite often. A lot of people
but
test.
That's for a different reason. No, but a lot of people don't ever call CQ, if you notice. They just come on and say, VK3, testing, and go off and expect that sort of a CQ call.
The bad thing about that is that when you, like myself, you come on, you do a test, and all these people come on and want to talk to you, and because everything's in a mess, you just want to test to get things right, so you can come on and call CQ later on.
That's right, yeah.
And so people should think of the meanings of what they're doing.
Yeah.
If Clem wants to join in on this contact, he can come up on 53.5. Did you hear was it last week's cast that apparently 53.9 is going to be made a secondary FM net on 6 metres?
Yes, I heard that.
Now, I don't really like that idea.
Why not?
Well, it means 53.5 is going to be less away from missions.
Oh, that doesn't matter. People won't be able to hear them.
I suppose if nobody has tunable rigs, it doesn't matter, does it?
No.
Just buy a crystal. just as well, because remember, we were going to choose that frequency for our net.
Yes, we were, that's right.
And if we had have, it would have become a public net.
It's most... well, that's why we avoided it, because we knew there were lurkings in that area. This is about the only part of the band that's uninhabited.
That's right.
Because there's AM nets around about 53. And then there's FM nets 52 and a half and thereabouts.
Yes.
And there's more FM nets up at the top of the band.
I remember when I first came on the air,
What's that?
we used to have great discussions about the FM nets and everything on 6 metres.
Yes, that's right.
And a certain person who had unfortunate call sign used to be master of ceremonies at that stage, but now he's gone down. He's down to Bay Street. I hear.
Oh, I was just trying to work out who. Yes, it used to be always this continual war on. It was quite amusing.
It was. He's just so easy to stir, basically.
Yes.
Oh, I got my Pyrox quarters back. Eventually.
At last, Mr. Chisholm returned it.
Well, last night, about 6:30, we're having tea, and all of a sudden on the door, I hear. So I think, who the hell is this? It's some SWL come to say good evening. Hello, can I have a look at your transmitter, sir? And all this sort of jazz. And
Yeah.
you know how these SWLs come along. you're having tea, and they go on the door and they say, oh, hello, I've just been walking past, I heard you on the air. The fact you've been having tea for the last half hour doesn't seem to make much difference. And I thought I could come up and have a look at your station and all this sort of thing. So, anyway, I went to the door, not very happy. I made sure I had my plate of dinner and everything in my hand. And I had a bit of chicken with a fork stuck in it to make it just a hint that I was rather in the middle of having tea. And there was two chaps, the Chisholm and this other friend of his who actually borrowed the recorder. They opened the door and I immediately noticed it was Chisholm. I've seen him about 3 times, and this other chap I've seen once. And he says, and I said, and he said, well, we've brought back your Pyrox. And I wasn't very amused, they expected me to think it was really good, but considering it's almost a year since I lent them the Pyrox, I acted rather, nonchalant about it. And they went and gave me the Pyrox, and it was covered in dust. Obviously it's been in the back of this guy's car for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And it was stored, when they went to get out of the boot, it was upside down. And anyway, I got it, and I said thank you, sort of thing. And I didn't even attempt. I haven't seen these guys for a long time. I didn't even attempt to have a conversation. I just, closed the door and went back to eating tea. And the fish says, "Who was that? You didn't. Why didn't you invite them in?" And I wasn't particularly likely to invite people in who I lend things to people for a couple of weeks, and they have it for a year. I think that's a bit poor. However, I tested the Pyrox out this evening, and it's still going very well. Well, as good as a Pyrox can go, so they haven't wrecked it, but it's a good monitor amplifiers, and a good replay machine too.
Well, at least it works, I suppose that's one thing. It's good for doing super bash triple missions.
Well, look, those Hammond pop missions only sound good on a Pyrox.
Because they're restricted, and it has to be played back, it has to be de-emphasised.
That's right, yes.
Equalise, yes. It's on the Pyrox equalisation.
That's right. Whereas I have the Kai equalisation here when I caught it 7.5. Super equalisation with the
thing on 3 3/4.
That's right, yes. I used to do that with the cop quarters. I'd record at 15. Well, there's somebody there with a bit of skill. I'd record at 15 with the thing at 3 3/4.
That must have just about wrecked the tape, I suppose.
All the treble used to punch holes in the tape, and you'd wreck your tape. Be all these holes in the bill apes, you see, which wasn't very good.
Oh dear.
Yes, so that's the situation at that particular location. Very nice evening tonight, isn't it? Very nice.
Yes, would have been a nice day today if it hadn't been windy.
Oh, it wasn't too bad. I did a bit of work in the car, actually.
Was it windy? Yes. Actually, I was hoping it wouldn't be windy, but well, who knows? Tomorrow might.
Well, what do you want to do that doesn't require wind?
I want to go for a ride on my bike.
Oh, yes, wind is a rather unfortunate thing when you want to ride a bike, isn't it? Because the wind is, just close up to the mic now, so there's probably more bass. But the wind, what's bad, you ride somewhere into a north wind, and when you decide to come back, it changes into a south wind, and you get wind.
That really used me when that happened.
You get wind all the way, which is most disconcerting. There's some regrets, actually.
I used to try and arrange it so that when there was a really strong north wind,
yes,
just before a change, the wind gets extremely strong in summer.
Oh, that's right. You'd come back the other direction.
Yeah, well, I'd ride all the way down to, say, Black Rock or something.
Oh, yes.
Which is directly south.
Yes.
Get the advantage of the wind, but usually there'd be too much crosswind or something.
That's right.
And then when the cool change came, catch the wind on the way back again. But it would never work.
No, it doesn't work very well. It tends to have its problems doing that sort of thing.
But, yes, it's rather bad when... Actually, today was quite warm. I wasn't ready for today.
Ah, yes.
My thermostat didn't quite realise how warm it was going to be.
I see.
It was all wrong.
Oh, that must have been most interesting anyhow.
But tomorrow's going to be even warmer, apparently.
Is it?
But I think it could be even windier. Well, it's not windy tonight. It calmed down by the end of the day.
It's rather strange weather, rather spring, or just like spring weather, really. That's what it seems to be like. It's all springing around everywhere.
It's getting light early in the morning now, which must help.
That's right, yes. It does help quite a bit, actually.
Yes.
So,
daylight saving mission's coming on soon.
That's right. We'll have to have another session to, remember the last daylight saving missions we had?
Well, that was the last day. We've got to do it for the first
That's
day.
right. And we rang up the phone and he says it's, he reckons it was 1:59 and 50 seconds. The next one was 1 o'clock. So it's quite funny doing it that way.
Yeah.
So there's all these interesting ways that things can in fact be done.
I wish we'd go back to the original.
Well, what's the trouble?
This concert thing.
Oh, are you hearing yourself? You would, wouldn't you? You'd be hearing yourself on an echo.
I am.
What's that song that says, we were looking for an echo? Well, they must have been looking for missions like this, I suppose. But anyway, my monitoring at the moment, I'm monitoring you directly off 6 metres. And I'm not listening off the log.
Oh, I see. Well, you see, I'm listening off 160, and what I'm hearing is coming out. Oh, it doesn't really worry me that much, because it ruins the conversation a little bit.
Do you mean when you speak, you hear yourself come back a little bit later on?
Coming back a little bit later, yes.
Oh, I see. So this is a bit disconcerting for you.
Yes, that's right.
Now, you don't realise that what you're hearing me say is actually about half a second old? Doesn't it give you a thrill that people are hearing me, not myself live, but after I've got about half a second older?
The person with that throws tings because they can't just go ding.
That's right. It'll ruin it will ruin the synchronisation of the ting people because they won't know when to put their phone on the hook to terminate the line.
Listen for when it
goes ding
and connects through.
Yes.
But at the same time, you've got to listen to see when it's actually this ting. Oh, very good.
Very good. Very good.
Excellent.
Excellent. But we'll just see.
Can we have live back?
No, I just want to see.
It does help.
What do you think you could be able to speak better having live missions?
Yes, because I don't really like listening to myself.
Isn't it interesting? You talk like this, and when you hear yourself coming back, you realise how to... Oh, just snapped my finger. You realise what a bad voice one has. So just stand by. We'll now switch to live missions. What you're hearing now is completely live.
Yes, sounds like it too.
Does it sound better quality?
It's more highs.
More highs. It's just cheap T-tape. Or maybe my heads have worn down already.
Because you've never demagnetized those heads.
No, but
At the corners.
that doesn't ruin the highs. It just makes noise.
It does.
Does it? Mm. I must have to take my quarters in.
What does a teacher at our school would take? Oh, yes. Into where? Into the city?
I'll just take him to work and get it done there, I suppose. Be quite...
You ever clean your heads?
Yes, whenever I make a big cordings,
Yeah,
like if I borrow cords to cord, I do actually
clean their heads first.
Yeah, just to make sure it doesn't get a bit of muck in it and make it all muffled cordings, which has happened before this.
The only thing I'm worried about is that I might scratch the head, because I use cotton wool buds.
Cotton buddies.
And they're meant to be soft, but I don't know. I still think they might scratch the head slightly.
I use that record cleaning cloth.
I'm sure that would be
of quite good...
great use. Yes.
You could use sandpaper. And do a
ballet.
Yes.
Skating all over the heads, just like the tape does.
Yes, skating heads.
Let's put on your anti-skating device. I'm also a bit worried about oiling the quarters.
I wouldn't if I were you, unless it was really necessary.
I'm not going to.
Oh, good.
Because I don't know what to do. See, my old national quarters, I never had a service manual for it, but it had little holes and arrows saying oil, you know.
Oh,
so
yes.
You put half a thing of oil in there and you tip it on its side and
it
all
would
the
go
oil goes on
wowie.
Yeah, look, I was spewing one day. I went to make big cordings at school about 2 years ago with it, and I cleaned it all up, cleaned it perfectly, and oiled it all up. And I just left it all done up because I didn't usually have it done up sitting on its side, but I had it all sitting on its side ready to take to school the next morning.
And all the oil dribbled into the belt, did it?
Yeah, look, I took it to school, and you put it on rewind, yes, it works, fast forward, it works. You put it onto play, and it just doesn't do anything. And I was
slip machine.
spewing.
Oh, I bet you were.
And so was one of the teachers, because they expected recordings.
Didn't it cord at all?
No.
Oh, what a laugh.
So I had to sit there and pretend it was working.
Oh, the poor Beck with his bad quarters. I think often things, they can be over-oiled, that's for sure.
Yes.
Particularly things like that do tend to wreck after a while.
But there must be...
What's that, missions?
Oh, somebody on Channel B.
Oh, I see.
I don't know. I'm a bit concerned, though, that the Echoes should require servicing.
Well, I say every year. You wouldn't do it too often.
But the thing is, of course, I'll have to buy the service manual to find out what to oil.
It costs about $20,000 or something.
Yes, I believe they are quite expensive.
Quite. Oh, there's the bear,
no,
the king.
The king.
Oh, well, let's hear what the king has to say. G'day, King.
It makes it very, very difficult. I didn't think you'd be listening. I just called you to see.
Oh, no, we're listening. Yeah, anyway. Are you there, Beck? We'll speak to the king.
Yes, I am.
On 2 metres.
Can't patch us through, of course.
Hang on. Are you speaking to the king at the moment?
No.
Oh, we'll speak to the king.
I can't.
But he's listening on 160, obviously.
He's listening on 160, yes.
Okay, good evening, King. And how are you
Why'd
today?
you call him Philip?
I want to speak to the Bez about something. Apparently, he knows somebody. I met somebody the other day who apparently knows the king.
Him. Oh.
What's his name? Oh. I forget his name. I forget the guy's name, but anyway, he's... Anyway, I only see him once every 6 months or something. When he parks in front of me in the car park, and I've got to go across to...
Get him to get out of the way.
Seems to be working now.
Yes.
Oh, that's better.
Yes, quite good.
Yeah, oh, that was the guy, yeah, we saw him last Sunday at the laundrette. I just had the Ken there.
Ah,
and,
yes.
He saw that and he sort of asked me about what it was and that, and then he said he was interested, so we took him around here and just showed him a bit about amateur radio and what it's like and so on. And so he found you, did he?
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I had
He was going to go and look for you.
As I was saying, I had to move my car, and he was parked behind me.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's, yeah.
What's his name again?
John something.
John something. I know his name because I had to look it up in the book to find out who to ring up and walk over and get my car moved. And what laundrette was this? The one in Elstonwick, was it?
Yeah, the one in Paul's Road.
Well, this would tend to indicate that he lives close by here.
Yeah, he does. He just lives over the street.
Oh, I just have to have words with him and tell him how to tweak his sievers so he can listen to the missions.
This is what we told him, because he didn't believe the sort of missions go on like they do.
Oh, I don't suppose he would, no.
Because he works shifts like you, of course he'd be able to hear a lot of them.
That's right, yeah.
And so, he'd be one of these really people in a real advantageous position as far as hearing late night missions.
And I know, I did speak to him once a couple of years ago, and he said that he does go home and listen to the sievers. So I might give him tings on the 8566 number, I think it is, and tell him that to tweak a sievers. Or if he doesn't feel he's capable of doing that, I'll tweak one for him.
Yeah, well, that'd be a good idea, because, he's in the prime listening area.
Oh, he really is, yeah.
Yeah, so that'd be really good.
That's excellent. Since we might be getting a new listener, I'll tell him to tweak a sievers, and I'll put on a prime top-rating missions one night, so he'll get interested in it, and he'll be a consolidated listener.
Oh, that's really good. And he's got a ting machine and everything.
Has he really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's excellent. He can give tings to the G's.
Yeah, that's right. So he could be really well trained.
Yes.
That's something else too. It's really amazing coincidence that my fish did exactly the same as your fish with vacuum cleaners.
Really?
Yeah, we've been listening for a while actually.
Oh, that's good.
But was that one with the cover that popped off to replace the belt every week? Was that a J. Edgar type vacuum cleaner?
It's a pretty ancient thing. I don't know what.
The Hoover.
Made by the J. Edgar company.
Oh, that's right. Yes, it was one of those. Yes.
Yes, that's the same one. The little Bakelite wheels on the back.
And the little funny bag thing that used to sit on the flap on the handle. It used to fill up.
It had a spring at the top of the bag.
That's right, and it used to fill up with air when you turned it on.
That's right. It all blew up, and you'd think the thing was going to explode.
That's
or
right.
something if the voltage went high.
And you had to take that little thing at the top and pour it into the rubbish bin, all the fluff.
Yeah, that's right. And then my fish,
Yes.
like your fish, went and bought one of those other vacuum cleaners from the same company that floats around on the air.
Ah.
The bowl type.
Yeah.
Bowl
A hydrofoil vacuum cleaner.
They are fun, those ones, because on our long passage, you can put an extension cord, turn it on, and push it down the passage. And it would bash into the wall and all sort of thing.
Yeah.
I put a long extension cord on ours and used it on the grass.
Just a sec. I'll turn that down. Yeah, keep going.
I put a long extension cord and tried to use ours on the grass and over the pavement and everything.
Yes.
But then I got spewed at because the fish tried to use it one day and all the grass came out onto the carpet.
Oh, I thought maybe the grass man had been there.
That's right, yeah.
You can imagine if you tried to use one of those ones with the puff-out peg,
We heard about how you
picking up wheels. Sorry,
No, it's alright, sorry. Go on.
not finished now.
I heard about how Dave used an extension cord to make electric-powered bicycle.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Rode it down the street and with the cord pulled out.
That's right, yes. Mm.
Yes, that was on the Tasmanian Devil tape, actually.
Is that when I spoke of that, was it? Mm.
That was quite interesting. Yeah, was it a bicycle or was it
A tricycle, actually.
a tricycle?
One of those little cyclops things.
Yeah, something like that.
Back in your younger days.
Crossband 160 metres AM, that's this transmission. 6 metres FM, that's the other transmission. And 2 metres FM, that's the one there.
Did you actually put a motor on the wheels or something?
You know they have that little stand-up thing at the back, so your friends can stand up on the back of the bike.
Oh, yes.
I tied a motor on there with rope or something and had its pulley thing slipping on the back rubber wheel, and just had plug it into the wall. It used to slip along the ground.
I thought that perhaps you might have some kind of jet air system thing. Have the vacuum cleaner on the back of the bike pushing air out to push you along.
No, however, I was considering putting a... Yes?
Paul, have you got any other channels like 37 or...?
Nope.
No. Oh, that's okay. We might just leave a break on the channel so the duck can come up and tell us how we can't have crossbands.
The duck? Who's the duck? Oh, that's Bill.
Listen, channel 37, folks.
Oh, what's going on here?
Oh, yeah. Roger there, Joe. 160 by 6 metres at the moment.
Oh, in that case, go and listen to it.
All these people who keep breaking in.
160, Joe?
Right, you're in 40. Why don't you go and
Tuttle.
get there?
This tends to indicate that the BAS missions have got very low deviation.
They have extremely low.
Yeah.
Oh, it's better now, but it wasn't.
But they do tend to be rather lacking. I do listen to your test missions that tend to happen very late Saturday.
I heard one on Monday too.
Did you? Huh.
Oh, yes. What was that test transmission like?
Oh, it was quite good, except I'd heard now, that made it the third time I'd heard it, but still.
I like
Rather
the...
boring.
I like the announcements on the test missions and the way when you close down you have about a minute of tone before you put the missions off. It makes it
Well,
sound...
it has to be done professionally.
It makes it sound real professional.
Is that on... That's on 160. No, we had... That's 160 we have tone.
That was on 2 metres too. There was a simulcast one evening.
Oh, but how did we put tone? Tone gets back into the 2 metres, does it? Oh, I see.
Well, I was listening up here on 160. Then when I went down to the car and turned that on, and the mission's finished, and there was an announcement from one of you, forget who it was, then there was tone. You said you were closing down, then there was tone, then there was nothing.
Yeah, oh, this is how it should be done.
Yeah, so it makes it sound more professional.
We don't do it like the ABC. Have you ever noticed on the receivers how the ABC, they put the colour bars on at the end for about half a second?
That's right, then it goes to nothing.
Yeah, and they just turn the carrier off about half a second, and all the commercial channels have about half an hour of colour bars.
That's right, I don't quite know why they do that. Well, there are only black and white bars on my receivers, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
As if makes it think whether the staff up there are in a hurry to go home. I think that's probably the reason.
Well, this is right. One tends to get that impression.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Joe, by the way, for listening.
That was Clive Mine. Sorry. Yeah.
A little aside.
Yeah.
2 a.m, eh? That's good.
2 a.m. Yeah.
I've got a 2 a.m. converter here, but it doesn't vert. It stopped verting all of a sudden.
Stop verting? Oh,
Yes.
that's no good at all. Oh, that's right. You used to use that to listen to me on the Ken, didn't you?
That's right, yes.
And then it stopped verting altogether, did it?
You know, if you're so close now, I should be able to, even though you are FM, I could slope detect you and get no noise.
Yeah.
I better get that verters going.
That's right. Ugh. He just kicked me.
And what have you two been up to? You been doing anything interesting?
Oh, no, not really. I've just been sort of going to work, and that's very boring.
Oh, I went in to visit you just the other day,
Yeah.
but there were so many people in the shop, you must do a busy trade at that place.
Oh, it has been fairly good lately, sometimes. Actually, I was going to visit you the other day, but I wasn't sure whereabouts I should go.
Ah, yes.
I was,
Well, if you had have come in and the Delaney was there, he would have told you where to go.
Oh, I see. Yes. The Mercer came in during the week.
Ah, yes.
Just to say hello and ask about clipses.
Oh, the clips filter. You're going to buy a clips filter, are you?
Oh, we might buy a clips filter, but he wants to have a clips pictures, you see.
Ah, yes.
And he's just trying to work out about how to mount the cameras on the scopes and things.
I'm going to do time-lapse clips pictures. I think I'll just take, not actually clips of the sun, a picture of the sun, but just of the area, you know, so it'll get dark and then get light again.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. But I want to take I want to take some clips pictures of the sun. I also want to take some of the sort of surroundings too and what happens, you know.
Well, this would be excellent. What you need is different people to take different sorts of pictures.
Yeah, well, this is right. This is what we're trying to arrange now. We're going up to Mount William, actually.
You are. Gee, that should be good up there.
Because apparently there's a 60% chance of it being cloudy in Melbourne.
Oh.
That was on one of your... I achieved that brilliant piece of information from one of your replays a week or two ago.
That was made about a year ago.
Was it a year?
It was made about 8 months ago.
Year or something, yeah. Yeah, but that was very useful information.
It was. I mean, I didn't realise it was so interesting until I replayed it. This is what happens to all these missions.
Everyone wants to take pictures of speakers, do they?
Yes, we get your
Am I
thing.
still going?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Anyway there, Mark, what about, what date is the clips on?
It's on the 23rd of October.
Oh,
What frequency?
Oh, that's good.
Frequency? Oh, it's on all frequencies.
Oh, that could be quite good.
It's, actually, that's the day before my birthday.
Oh, you'll be able to celebrate your birthday with eclipse.
No, this is right.
I hope you don't get eclipse blindness.
That's the last day I'll ever be a teenager.
Oh, you're becoming the 20-year-old.
Well, this is really bad. Yes, I am.
Oh, well.
Isn't that really bad?
Oh, it could be, I suppose.
Yes.
It must be good to be that young.
Oh, well, ask Paul. He's even younger.
I mean, I feel I'm ancient. I really do.
Well, you are, but you're not as ancient as the branch, but nearly.
But, I mean, I look...
I don't mean that. I mean, obviously the branch can't help being old.
It's a thing that just seems to happen and you can't stop it. Although you can lie, but whether that gets you anywhere, I don't know.
Long's always saying how he feels so terribly old.
Well, the Long, how old is the Long? Is he older than me?
The Long's 23, I think, isn't he?
And he's about the same age as me, yes.
There's a few people about your age. I think the Mercer's about the same age as you.
That's right. We all stick together because we realise we're...
It's very hard to work out what age the Mercer is because there's
He never said
no
anything.
information available.
No, well, he did mention it once.
I thought he was about 30 when I first saw him.
Oh, yeah?
Very smart there.
Whoever's doing that's making very, very good ting.
It must be some identified person, I think.
Yeah. Oh, I went down and visited the Long by the seaside last night.
Oh, did it
I
make
heard
you...
him on earlier tonight. I was going to make all sorts of nasty comments about him.
Did it make you spew?
Oh, not really. He was sort of interesting to see the Long, because I'd never seen the Long mission.
Oh, and what... After hearing all our discussion about the Long and the Long Shack, what was it like? Was it pretty accurate?
I'm not... What actually have you been saying about the shack? Oh, I can't recall... I remember what you said about the Long himself, but I don't know about the shack.
Did he have all these frequency counter things with big fans in the background?
Yeah, something like that.
Did he have a WWV receiver in a rack?
He has, but it's not going. He tried to sell us that.
How much was he selling it for?
We didn't get that far.
Was he trying to sell... Did he open this cupboard and all these wrecked MR6s fell out and he tried to sell them to you for $40?
No, not really. He sort of had wrecked MR6s.
Did he offer you 10 glasses of Coke?
Yes. Oh, except we brought... He told us to bring the Coke. Like, he says, bring around some Coke.
Oh, yes.
You come. And so we bring around the Coke and then he offers us our own Coke.
Typical of the Long. Was he butting cigarettes all over the bench?
No, he's got an ashtray.
I said, has his chair collapsed?
Look, you chaps talk for 2 minutes. I'm just going to go down and get myself a Coke.
Oh, yes. Right. He said he hadn't listened to 160 for 8 years, so I don't...
What a load of rubbish.
And also, he gave us the interesting fact that the Silvers carries one of those devices that ejects small pieces of lead at high velocities.
Unfortunately, Mr. Apple is in the same category as Mr. R, Mr. R of a certain eastern suburb of Melbourne. They both like to make up stories and say outdo each other.
Greatly likened to that gentleman with Scottish dread.
Yes.
And, I had remember you lightening the personalities, and I think I would tend to agree somewhat.
Because they both, when the Scot first came here from overseas, came to Melbourne from overseas, yes, he used to go around to the seaweed man quite a bit.
Oh, I see. Oh, well, that's probably how it happened. Probably that sort of person, it sort of rubs off on people.
Yes, because I don't know what the Scotsman was like before that.
Yeah, I think the Scotsman was probably badly influenced or something.
But these people who just make up stories, tell everybody the stories, giving everybody the so-called inside information, which is all made up on the spot.
Yes, well, I could perhaps believe this, but yes, all the same, it was interesting to see the person.
What's he up to these days?
Well, he's making all these things under contract for all these different people, all commercial and medical equipment that he fixes up and stuff. And he's so busy, he hasn't been on the 2 metres for about a year, but he decided that just to be nice to everyone on 2 metres, he'd come back on 2 metres, so he went and bought a base station, BTR 10, and came up on 2 metres just so that everyone would know that the Longs was still alive.
Actually, I heard him on earlier tonight, as I said before. Yes, it sounded like he was in in a car. With one of these MTR 13s was too much.
What's wrong?
Happened. So after I got back from that place down the road, you're putting me through with more level now. I'm being old and stuff. They're altering my level. That's all.
Hang on, don't do that, please.
Put us on delay, we won't get feedback.
Okay. You're on delay now. Is that better? Yeah, that's better.
No feedback at all. The other interesting thing was after I came back from that place down the road.
Oh, darn. I've poured Coke all over myself.
Oh.
Well, why? Is because I was listening to the pouring on delay, and I didn't realise it was flowing over until I looked.
Oh, we actually got full D, you see.
I must admit, I didn't think it was quite that funny.
Well, it is very funny.
Yeah.
And after I got back, it wasn't so funny. Last
Glad you
night,
think
I
so
walked
too.
into my room, and there was this bad smell.
What was it? Seaweed?
I said to the Philip, I said, now, you've got good smelling senses. What is this bad smell? And he walked in and he agreed it was a very bad smell.
Oh.
And it turned out that the formers had been left switched on that ran all the Ken charger and stuff, and the formers had completely wrecked. It's now just a black lump.
Do you realise you could have burnt your flat down and you would have had to pay for a new one? It would have cost quite a bit of money.
This is right.
Mm.
And so that's very bad indeed. And
Some regrets.
There would have been a lot of regrets if that had happened.
Would you have insurance, or would you have to pay it out of your own pocket?
I imagine the flat itself would be insured as regards burning down.
Oh, yes.
It'd have to be, really.
Yeah.
I mean, they'd never expect poor tenants to be able to pay for a new flat.
I doubt it very much. Mm.
But all my stuff and that sort of thing, that's not all insured. Some of it is. But sort of not every little thing, you know.
Not every little bit.
Millions of things that wouldn't be insured that I'd have to buy again.
You could end up quite an expensive little bit.
Well, this is right. So it just shows you shouldn't leave formers switched on.
Yeah.
Because it was really bad. We couldn't find any component failure. So I think it must have just been a bad formers to start with, and it had shorter turns inside and it
Overheated.
decided to wreck.
Yeah, this often does happen, actually.
It was one of those ones bought from that disposal place, and in that very little street.
Oh, yes, I know that place.
And I was thinking perhaps maybe the formers, they're selling them cheap because do you think that's a possibility?
I don't know if this delay business is very good because I can't really make anything of what's going on.
You're patching too much of our level down. I suppose you want the listeners to hear them.
Well, this is it, you see. You've got to be heard by the listeners.
Did the Long by the Sea say if he's still working at Channel 7 or not?
Do you mean
sorry, what was that?
he doesn't, apparently?
He said that he isn't.
Is he purely self-employed now?
I think he's just making a lot of money out of working from this business that he runs.
Oh, yes. Self-deployed.
Well, this is right, but they were all complaining last night that they make so much money now that they don't know what to do with it.
Oh, that means they'll be able to sell MR6s for a little bit cheaper than they used to.
Well, this could be, or maybe it's just because they're selling MR6s dearer than they used is that they're making more money.
You're having a picnic, are you?
Yes, I am. Oh, is this live?
Where are you having the picnic?
Pardon?
Are you having a picnic, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh.
Going out to this big rock on this open cart,
Ah, yes.
and it's all going along, and it's all this really sunny, hot day,
Oh, yes.
all ants walking all over the cake, and then this girl here, Miranda, wants to go off, and the French lady goes, "You be careful." No. Yeah.
That sounds quite an interesting little picnic you could be having there.
We'll put the picnic film away, I think.
Okay, put the film back in its can.
Rattle.
Are you up in the projection booth there, have you? You've got 3 big 35mm projectors.
Oh yes, the big 35mm projector.
You're just auditioning the soundtrack.
Actually, I saw a bit of that on TV.
What, the booth, the projection booth?
No. I've seen the Ackfield. You know, the Ackfield's got a rocking chair down at Riffinley.
Oh yes, I've seen them, aren't they hilarious?
They're rocking away.
Yeah.
No, I saw a bit of the rock missions on TV.
Oh, yes, they do play it quite often.
It looks exceptionally good.
What, in colour on TV?
Yeah, it looks... Because the picture is brighter than what it is at the movies.
It was a bit dull,
better.
wasn't it, at the movies?
Yeah.
As if it was slightly underexposed. Someone made a mistake and had a few stops down. Although the fact that my ejectionist was a trainee and didn't draw the arc properly, he had to light his cricket lighter and poke it in the aperture to light the thing.
He had his cricket disposable torch.
Yeah.
What do you mean draw the arc? Do they have some kind of special light bulb, do they?
No, they're carbon arcs and the big mitters, the big...
They were just great big... They put in there 140, 50 watt lights.
That's why if they have to... if the light goes out, they've got to stick in new carbons and draw the arc, and it starts off real dark and gets brighter.
Ah, I see. I can't say that's ever happened.
Haven't you? I've seen it happen quite often. It does happen now and then.
So there you are. I wonder if things are fixed up on 2 metres yet.
I doubt it.
A mess.
I sort of hope not,
So
actually.
I sort of disconnected it for a moment until things got sorted out.
Well, they should be able to have their own crossband, really.
With who? Joe?
Well, if they had good missions. Who is Joe, anyhow?
YSP.
Never heard of him. Is he a what sort of...
He works down... You may have bought your tea tape off him.
Yeah?
He worked part-time in teas.
Does
I
he?
went in there one day. I heard him talking to the branch Crossband, and the next day I went in to get some tea tape, and I heard his voice there. I didn't sort of say anything in case I was wrong, but I'm sure I knew which one he was.
Oh, I see.
So, what do you know? Your local tea store representative for cheap tape with dropouts.
It's amazing they don't have crossband tapes. Since we recorded crossbands on tea tape, they have them playing in the background.
Yes.
That would be a good way of getting
Yes, in
ratings.
it says, as used in professional crossbands.
That's right, yes. They send to America and say, could you change the name of these tapes to crossband tape?
Yeah.
And since crossbands are illegal in the States, they'd be all upset.
I suppose that wouldn't be any use to people over there. Well, they're not much use here, really, because they're only meant to be used for concerts.
That's right, yes.
If you're not making a concert, well, I suppose you shouldn't really use them.
Yes. Oh, talk about the States and everything. You mentioned that you heard a rumour about CB or something being legalised.
Yeah, what was this rubbish that Chris was talking?
I have heard something about it. I don't know what it's all about. I'm hoping tomorrow's cast will enlighten me.
If it has actually happened, there must be something on the cast tomorrow.
Well, people have come up to me and said, they've been talking about CB, and apparently the Fish saw it on the 9 News.
Well, there hasn't been anything in the paper about it.
This is it. It's only been on the Channel 9 News, so it makes you wonder.
Yes, it does, rather.
Maybe the PS was a bit up for news, so...
The PS with the old soft shoe shuffle
Oh,
routine.
yeah, what another laugh.
I really just could not imagine Eric Pierce doing the soft shoe.
What? So in case he runs out of news, he can always go and do that.
Or the flag gets flown upside down.
Ah, that's a laugh. Oh, we must apologise for having the flag upside down there.
He didn't seem terribly sort of upset about it or anything.
No, not really.
He sort of sat there thumbing through all his papers.
That's right, like the Sanders had.
With the paper.
Oh, we're back to the same problem again. Tubes are... It's rather bad, actually, those valves. So you go out, and the whole garage is just lit up with these brilliant valves. It must be wrecking something, but I just can't see... It must be a break in the wire or something onto the bias supply. Either that, or maybe the Mickey Formers has...
Finally given up the Mickey.
It could be.
Had the Mickey blown out of it.
That's, I think, is the way it must be, something like that. But it's a darn nuisance. Never does. It's bad by that. But anyway, let's get back to our subject we were talking about.
The Sanders.
Yeah, he must have felt like a bit of an idiot, and he kept asking for a commercial sausage to be put on, and they didn't give one. The man up in Taliesin must have been drinking coffee.
Well, that's the thing. Of course, these days we've got cartridges, but in those days they wouldn't have.
Would have had to lace up a Bill Films and everything.
Right.
Guess it would have been quite disconcerting. This guy's pulling the ad out of the can, you know, and putting it on.
Yes. Well, the Sanders throws all the things
That's
away on
right.
the floor.
I wonder if he's in relation.
The son of Sanders.
Oh, that was Sanders, that's right. It wasn't Sanderson. Well, that's right. No, yeah, it was Sanders, that's right. You don't see him anymore.
No, he hasn't been on for some time.
Yes, ever since he got his papers all over the floor.
Or the Kirby messing up the idiot
That's
sheet.
right. Now, he was... What's happened to him? We don't see him at all now.
Yeah.
He was quite good, actually, for that sort of presentation. But he's apparently somebody must have put interesting things on his idiot sheet.
You could tell he was messing it up at times.
Yeah.
It's a wonder he couldn't tell himself and want to stop it, unless it was going out live or something.
It could have been, yes. Okay, well, it's pretty early, really, but unfortunately my emitters is wrecking, so I don't know how much longer we'll be able to continue on.
I don't want to start too late. I want to get a read.
Yeah, well, maybe if you do go, I might just put on a test to ascertain what the trouble with the emitters is.
If things are all automated here,
Yes.
I could patch the bears and the
And go to sleep.
king through and go to sleep, but I really can't do that without staying up to have to turn things off after it's all finished.
Can't you just pull the plug out of the wall when it's finished?
I suppose I could set my alarm for 3 in the morning and just rip the plug out of the wall.
That's right.
Lean down beside the bed. I've done that before with quarters,
Oh, yes.
but I don't like it because I can never get back. It sort of interrupts the sleep.
That's right, and it ruins it. I always think that...
It's bad enough on weekends. You get so used to waking up at 7:10 in the morning that you just automatically wake up at 7:10.
Do you really?
Like this morning, I got up and started, for some odd reason I thought I had to go to school today. Usually the first thing I think when I wake up is, oh, what day is it? I hope it's Saturday. And of course it never is. But this morning I didn't think it was, and I just started to get up and suddenly I realised what day of the week it was and went back to bed again.
But isn't it good when you do get up and you realise that it is in fact a holiday? You feel like you've got a whole new, life ahead of you or something.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's rather bad to think that one automatically thinks of what day of the week it is and whether or not one should
Get up and
or get up.
Well, this tends to indicate quite a bit, I suppose.
I suppose it indicates that you're sick of
school.
Or
Yes.
do you get? I suppose you get that feeling too.
Well, I don't really know what day I'm doing anything,
You're sick
really.
of work. Yeah, well, that's right. So you're not set to certain days. So it doesn't.
Well, I don't know. I must admit I do enjoy getting up to do the E-missions.
I suppose if it's something interesting that you do.
Yeah, I enjoy doing E, but I don't hate going in to do late night missions where you just sit there and get bored.
Listening to
Worse than... Yes,
the experimental,
missions, yes.
like they've got stupid things like the symphony for 8-track tape recorder or something.
Yeah.
There's things like that, and they're just unbelievable. You just hear these blong noises and cymbals bashing a couple of times.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of bad
It'll
things on
make
the air,
money
that's for
out of it.
sure.
I don't know.
anything that people can make money out of, that's what they like to do.
It's interesting.
You back again?
Oh,
good.
Cut off, was I?
Yes, sorry about that. A minor misfit in the Spotmaster.
Sorry, what was that?
A minor adjustment of the Spotmaster. By the way,
Spotmaster and
anybody who's listening to this contact, it's completely automated through Spotmasters. There's nobody speaking at all. It's all just pre-arranged on spots.
It's an own ting.
That's right.
Do anything.
It'll
All
just
the tings that you've heard have been
pre-arranged. We've got special ting spots that get put in at regular intervals.
It's on this carousel of spots.
That's right. It's computer controlled, so it makes it sound like a normal incognito crossband.
Now what it has, these fully automated things, you see, now that was one of them. We just had a little pulse comes off the other track of this tape and
that's right, yes.
Goes and triggers off one of the spots.
That's right. It's quite a sophisticated system, really.
Actually, I've seen pictures of those ones. 2SM in Sydney.
Ah, yes.
The all-night missions apparently is all off one of these machines.
Really? There's no announcers there?
No announcers. And I must try and listen one night. It's very hard to know when it's on, when it's not, because they're usually quite good.
What, the all-night missions is always like this, is it?
Yes. Apparently the 12 till 5 or something.
I see.
But what they've got, usually they've got these great big carousels of spots.
Oh, yes.
Which whiz around. They've got all the commercials and themes and things on them. Plus they've got a number of Revoxes there, sitting in the rack.
Our Vox quarters that the branch doesn't like.
Yes. So I suppose, see, I mean, like this program, this is on the Vox, and there's little pulse queuing things on the other track of the tape to trigger off spots.
I see.
Things. Plus a timing system to tell you what time it is.
They need to have that. There would have to be somebody in charge, though, wouldn't there? Because what happens if... You can imagine the terrible things that could happen.
Well, I imagine there would be somebody there, but there would just be a technician or something.
Yeah. But you can imagine if it was completely...
Look, I can't quite work out why a metropolitan station would need them. The only thing I can see they're necessary for is to save overtime and that sort of money.
But it takes away. I mean, anyone can just play tapes themselves, they want to.
Yeah.
I mean, people want to have a live personality at the other end of the missions.
Half of the fun of doing missions is to sit there and spin the records and have all sorts of fun with them and things.
Well, this is it. I mean, it'd be no fun just stoking up the Spotmaster or the carousel every day like the guy does at the Flinders Street railway station with an orange juice machine.
Sticking poison down the return chute. I must admit, they've put some new machines on the station.
Yes, I've seen them.
And the hot chocolate out of the hot drink machine is absolutely delicious.
Is it really?
Oh, it's beautiful. I've tried to imitate it here, but I haven't been able to find the right brand.
It's got super boost flavouring. Like all those things, you can never make them yourself.
Yeah, that's special.
It's the real thing.
The coal, I wouldn't get anything from the cold drinks machine. It puts in just about all crushed ice, and there's this tiny bit of juice there. Look, I press the no ice button, and all the ice floods in.
Oh, what a typical of these design of these equipments.
Spewing about that.
Yes, I guess you would have been.
And somebody wanted to drink a coffee out of the hot machine the other night.
Yes.
And put the money in, and nothing happened. And they kept pressing the button, and they pressed all the buttons at once.
Oh no!
And you hear this little motor and saying, and then just slowed down, stopped, and they're bashing the sides and everything. And so they didn't get their money back either. I thought, oh, dare I to try and, they gave up in disgust after a while. So I put my money in and got my drink okay. I thought I might have got a mixture of all of them or something terrible.
Oh, that would have been a bit of a joke.
Or I would have all the drinks slopped out and there was no cup.
No cup! Yeah, that's happened before today.
Has it? I've never seen that happen. I've seen it where the cup comes down the chute a bit too late and half of the drinks are already gone.
That's right. They must tell you that big drain where all the drink that misses a cup goes down. They must just, on the weekly changeover, they get out the slot tray at the bottom and pour it back into the top. I'm not one much for weather, but I'll be indicating that tomorrow will be quite wet at stages.
Yes, I would have thought it had been going to rain a bit tonight.
It's very close, very cloudy, and for this time of the year, quite warm. So I'd say we will get rain within the next few hours.
I don't
actually.
mind if we get rain as long as it's not windy.
You don't mind going for rides when it's
Not
raining?
It's just I've got to get over to the CR missions tomorrow.
What do you do? Oh, I listened to some of them tonight.
I didn't listen tonight. I listened for a bit this afternoon.
A couple of announcements were made by the Long.
Were they?
I think they must have been taped announcements.
Oh, yes.
He's popping up. I guess he goes home and listens to that station just so he hears when his voice might just pop up like a toaster.
That's not very nice. Like a pop-up toaster that pops out of the desk.
That was really good. That I must admit, that was one of the highlights. His desk. In fact, all his desk things are quite hilarious.
Yes. Yes.
Particularly the desk down Swanson Street, and the desk that drove into the camera.
Like the way it's flying like some incredible speed. Then you see the look on his face, just with the crash into the camera.
I wonder if he did that deliberately. He probably didn't mean to go that far. I guess.
No. It's probably meant to stop just before the audience or something.
Yeah.
It's bash into the camera.
Great moments of TV. Anyway, it's I don't know quite. I have to just do a complete like the Branch used to have to do bi-weekly complete revamps of his missus until he got a good one built. The same with this piece of garbage. It's I don't know what I can do with it really.
Once you ring up the RCA, people ask them for amplifiers methods.
I wonder how much. Look, if I was say if I won $100,000 on Tats Lotto or something.
Yes, well that's what I was thinking.
I'd go and order a cast mitters to put in the garage and get a 350-foot tower.
Yes.
Oh, actually, what you could do, you'd buy a block of land just in Eltham somewhere, or in Rowville.
Yes.
And because you'd have so much money, you could do access missions at night and just bribe the Silvers and everything.
Or else just keep paying him off.
That's right. Yes. I'm sure if the Crow got enough into his pocket, he wouldn't be pushing the Silvers.
Start crying.
So you'd have to put money into the Crow, the Silv, and that other guy who came. I could get away with it, say $2 an hour, no, about $10 a week, and you could do what you like. I'd say. This is all in joking, of course.
Oh, of course.
But there's no break-in stations while I was off. Well, is there?
I'm listening on arms. Just there's like a mute when you go off.
That's right. That's like my wideband receiver, just like that. It's good in respect because you can only hear the strong missions, and it's like a mute.
It's good when I'm waiting for you to come back on after you say, "Oh, I'm going to go off for a few minutes."
Oh, I see.
So I can just leave it running.
Yeah.
And not have to put up with noise and crackles and pops.
Yes.
The only thing is, I can't listen to it in bed. I've often been tempted to leave it on all night just to wait for
missions,
but there's a bit of residual hum that, you know, when things get exceptionally quiet,
you can notice it. Well, why not just put an attenuator in the speaker leads?
Oh, I suppose I could. But if I want to turn it off, I've got to get up and walk over the other
just
side
leave it on. It doesn't matter. Just leave it. Attenuators. I've put an electric bell on my missus. What I do, I have the speaker up loud, you know, and a diode, so I get DC off it. And it just it clicks a relay in and it runs a bell.
So it just wakes up the whole household? I suppose it must please fish no end.
That's right. They're out tonight, so they can please themselves. They'll probably be back soon, I should imagine. Into a red-hot garage with the valves all glowing. Something grossly wrong with that mitters. It's always been bad. Bad device.
It's a piece of pie.
Exactly, pie in my face. I just made.
Obviously, you must be if I heard you.
That's right. It would be rather awkward if I couldn't hear me or you couldn't hear us. Anyway, this contact tonight, it was going to be a good contact. It went downhill fast.
I can think of some reasons why, but
yes, we won't. We won't offend two people. Well, it would have worked okay if things had.
It was actually their fault that I shouldn't have
called them.
Enticed people by saying I had Channel B on.
That's right. You are at fault here.
I'm sorry.
We're glad that you agree.
Mad Tinger.
Look, that guy is incredible. I was dialing up the 478 number, and every time I put the phone down because I kept misdialing, they'd start to ring.
There's something wrong with your phone, is there?
There must be, I think. Too many people trying to give me tings, I think. I think it's some identified person.
It's wearing out the phone.
It will be interesting to know who it was. It's not you, I don't think. It's not the Bez or the King. It's not, well, it could be the Branch. It could be the Long.
I don't think
It could be the Knocker. But I think it's more likely to be some identified person that we don't know about.
Yes.
There's quite a few of these around, actually. They lurk in dark corners. They come out at about 11 o'clock in the morning, exercise their fingers. There it is again. Wouldn't it worry you? I don't know. Anyway, we'll just have to make of it and see what we can do. Don't tell me these lights are dimming again, are they? No, I don't think they are. But that's the situation there. I'm probably dimming next door's lights too. Bit of a music colour, I suppose.
Yes, while they listen to you coming out of their stereogram with the speakers turned on the floor so that it doesn't come through and annoy them while they're trying to sleep.
That's right, with the lights.
The lights dim in sensitively.
That's right. Quite a laugh, really.
Put some cellophane across the lights and have music colour.
Yes. Different lights for different frequencies. Would come in very handy.
What do you think of those things for your home?
Music colours?
Yeah.
Oh, they're a bit of a laugh, I suppose.
But don't you think, wouldn't you get rather annoyed at them after a while?
What, do people have them just in their homes?
Oh, yes. I mean, they're served in discos and things.
Yes.
But I think as home, to have one of those, and like at the Hi-Fi show, that stupid thing which generates all patterns by laser beams.
Laser beams? Is it really?
Yeah. If I had one of those, every time you put on music, that thing was on. I think I'd be driven around the wall.
You just had to put a blanket over it.
This big bulbous thing. Like an eye.
People do go mad on gimmicks, that's for sure.
Yes. Because it doesn't really serve any useful purpose. It doesn't bring any mood into it or anything. I don't know.
Well, people, the more they can sell, the happier they are, I guess.
We were going to talk about CB and legalising it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, well...
Well, if it was mentioned there...
I suppose it must be at least some truth in the rumour.
They're probably going to ask people for $50 a year for licences or something.
What gets
and
me
there'll
is...
still be all these illegal people on it.
The department at the moment can't cope with amateurs and other services. What are they going to do with 15,000 CB missions to sign, or do what they've got to do with them? Unless they get extra staff, I can't see it happening, really.
It will be interesting to see what... yes, you can imagine Miss V.
Miss V, yeah.
Her phone just won't stop. I mean, it's been bad enough now. Taking 7 months to get an amateur licence, her phone just continually tings all day long.
Yes, she had a spot there.
Yes, the spot would serve the same purpose. You try and talk, yell back at it or something, get in an argument with it.
But it's of no use.
Up on you.
That's right. And of course, every time you ring up, it's the same announcement, so it must be a spot.
Yes.
You walk into the government office, and it's just on each desk with neatly piled paper. There's a nice telephone and a spot master next to it.
And you see this light on the phone blink a few times, then you hear this relay go click, and you see the little spot whiz around.
It says, yes, your licence is now in the filing department. It'll be ready for you in 6 months' time. Don't ring us anymore, please. Goodbye. In fact, that's what happened to me. When after about 10 months I couldn't get my licence.
Did they tell you not to ring?
I rang up and I said, I want to speak to the... In fact, you know who it was? It was the Crow. Anyway, I spoke to the Crow. I said, I want to speak to the soup. And they put me onto the soup. And I said, I went, and he said, it won't do you any good ringing up. I advise you not to ring this office anymore. And he clicked down on me. So, I don't know. But they're just...
What'd you do the next time? Did you go in there and yell?
Well, I went in there and yelled, but what happened, I met the UG. And he said he recognised seeing me at the Zams, you see, about a year before. And he said how I was going. I said, I still haven't got anything. And he said, look, I'll follow this up for you. And he did. And it was only about 6 more months after that I got a certain piece of paper that's yellowing on the wall here.
Mine's yellowing and it hasn't even been in the sun.
They yellow very quickly, don't they?
Obviously it's cheap paper or something.
I think it must be cheap
something
paper.
a little better.
Yes.
They should also. It's like driver's licenses in this country. You get this piece of paper which rapidly disintegrates.
Yes.
Becomes completely mutilated, so it's all falling to bits. And you're meant to keep it for, 3 years or something?
Yeah. Yes.
Why on earth they can't issue a nice plastic ID card type of thing, as well as the licence? You could keep the licence part at home and just have this ID card thing.
That would be a very good idea.
There's of course I just can't think of it. They could do, see, by law, every time you have emitters on, you've got to have the licence sitting on the wall nearest it.
That's
so in
right.
the car, you've got to, every time you want to come on Channel 1, you have to rip the licence out of the glove box and stick it on the windscreen.
I wonder how many people adhere to that ancient rule. Because it's quite obvious. It's written there. You've got to have it when you do when you do your mobile missions. You've got to do that.
Let's say I have a photocopy.
That you
I
take.
usually carry a photocopy with me whenever I'm taking emitters out somewhere.
Oh, that's a good
But
idea.
I never take the original. It just sits on the wall all the
You
time.
just get ripped.
Yeah, that's right. It just gets wrecked. And they're a bit stupid. They're trying to enforce laws like that, and yet don't think very sensibly about what it means.
That's right.
I suppose a photocopy suffices, but even that becomes wrecked after a while because it's only a bit of paper.
And then, particularly if you've got across this photocopy specimen copy only or something like that, you've got from a book.
The what?
You know, you can get, you take a photocopy from a book or something about licenses, and it says specimen copy.
Oh. It says end of roll on it.
Yeah. You go down to the library and maybe the photocopying machine might be working, and you go and photocopy your licence.
The light goes bzzz.
And this about blind, you can get clips blindness as it goes across its little thing because someone's ripped off the rubber flap that sits on there.
Yeah.
Which tends to happen quite often.
And then 20 minutes later, this greasy, horrible, overexposed photocopy
Comes
out.
scratching with terrible
No definition.
consequences to one's nerves, comes scratching down the chute. Go, and you have a look at it and you can't make of it, so you just rip the page out of the book anyhow when the librarian's not looking and throw it back on the shelf. I've seen someone do that at the RMIT library. Yeah. I heard this rip sound. I looked across the bookshelf thing, and there's this girl just ripping pages out of some textbook, putting them in a bag. There's a great queue at the photo machine, so maybe that's why.
Oh, hell. Somebody's throwing stones at my window.
We'll tell them to stop.
Stop.
Stop throwing
Break the window in a minute.
Stop throwing stones at the Beck's window. He's a very nervous person. He's likely to have a nervous
That
breakdown.
went through the roof. Heaven. Yes? Hello? Oh, it's my brother trying to get in.
Oh,
Stand
you
by.
better go and let him in.
Better go and let him in.
Okay, we'll stand by to find.
Throwing stones.
Doesn't he have a key?
No.
Oh, he's not 21 yet, so he hasn't got a key to the house.
I think that went out quite some number of years ago.
Yes, it possibly has, I suppose. Oh, that's very interesting. Anyhow, I suppose he's been out for Saturday night or something.
Yes.
Big night on the... I'm afraid the spot... we had a jam up at the spot master then, so I hope it didn't cause any confusion against what had been happening.
Yes, I believe one of the spots is a bit faulty.
That's right. It keeps going in reverse or something.
Plus 12, diddle-diddling.
These, it's rather unfortunate. I don't think things just haven't been working too well for me lately. The Mrs. is wrecking, the Bill Ike's wrecked, the mixer's gone, so the tenors will blow down if we have a storm tomorrow because it's about bent. You know, if it did blow down, I'd just, I think I'd just give up.
Leave it down.
Although I have got a series of all late nights this week coming, so there's, late nights for me mean a series of the green series of test missions, replay missions, or whatever you'd like to call them.
Are they in Listener In?
Yes, they're in. I get my picture in the Listener In, like the Long. The Long with his skinhead haircut, apparently, which he's got now. I can't really imagine the Long in a skinhead. He had fuzz head last time I saw him. You see these eyes beaming through this
Fuzz.
Yeah, this fuzz. So he must have got a bit sick of fuzz head. Must have been getting caught in the trees or something.
I get fuzz hair rather badly at times too.
Oh yes, I don't like long hair, or fuzz hair, whatever you like to call it.
Yeah, it's not long, it's just fuzz. But you can't help it.
Oh yes. Lights dimming again. We'll be off any minute, but we'll just worry about that later. But I could put a stick in the relay, but I won't bother about that. Yes, anyway, that's all very interesting what we had to say there. I'm sure.
Are we talking about Miss V?
Oh, Miss
Oh,
V.
getting licences.
Oh, yes.
Because I kept ringing up, and one time they made a mess of it. Obviously, they put in the wrong spot. Because I rang up one day and they said it was in the typing pool. The next day it was being prepared.
Oh, yes.
So it looks like they got them round the wrong way, wrong spots in the wrong
It does. Well, whoever's in charge of putting spots in, I suppose, they could easily mess up the programming guide and give the wrong people the wrong information. But that's because the spots could wear out too and you just don't get any answer.
Yes, it's true. Or else it goes...
Oh, yes.
And it won't hang up on you.
Yes.
You're trying to get rid of it. It might go
That's
away.
right.
You've got to go down to the phone booth and ring them up again.
And get another spot that doesn't get you anywhere. Bring up the service difficulty spot.
Rude spot. Got to be careful what you say there, because I believe that you can get into trouble for insulting a public servant.
Can you really?
If I call you all names, I can be in trouble. I know, only when you're doing your job, I think.
Oh, I see. But
if I rang you up and said you're a...
I could get you booked.
Yes.
Just like
but I
typing.
believe when people, yell at the operators on the phone and things...
They can be booked.
They can be. I don't think it's done very often, but in extreme cases it has been done. When people get extremely abusive.
So if you ring up and be abusive at Miss V, she could... Next minute you hear on your door and a Silvers walks in and drags you away.
Yes, they confiscate your phone.
Yes, and you get a penalty into the bargain.
Your voice gets confiscated too.
That's right.
They store it away in their little metal cupboard, and you go into the radio branch, you ring on the bell, and that woman comes out with a funny eye, and you stand there and go, and point down the corridor.
Oh, yes.
And she can't make a view, so she goes in that little bug who sits in the booth there with the switchboard, and goes, radio branch.
That's quite a good little booth, that, isn't it?
And you go, ooh, point down the corridor a bit more. Everyone can't quite make a view. So then you write out on the desk, I want my voice back. So, oh, well, you'll have to come back when Mr. Goals is here. And so he goes down the back and he digs out all these different boxes, different components of your voices, all the mids, highs and lows and everything. But he says he took 25 components, whereas you think he took 26, and so there's a slight frequency mismatch, and your whole voice goes up in pitch slightly or down in pitch or something. I suppose this could happen.
Because the room you walk into is a room that's got an old rack of sievers there.
That's right.
And also the confiscated voices in the cupboard.
Yes, yes.
So it's quite an interesting little session. Getting your voice back. But that guy in the booth, he's waiting there for somebody and he just looks up through the glass and doesn't worry.
Dirty look through the window all the time. Look, one time we did this and started insulting the staff there. Didn't somebody tell us off and said, oh, you better not do that. They listen,
Well, yeah, it might give them some idea of where they can pull up their economies or something.
Yes.
But,
Not employ men who sit in little booths answering the phone all day. Have a spot master which does that.
that's right, a lot cheaper. I haven't been there for about a year. Well, since that day you were talking about where we had to go to the grey cabinet.
The grey cupboard, where everything just gets thrown in.
That's right. There's an MR6 there.
It's full of citizens' bad things.
That's what it's mainly full of. Yes. They thought what they got off me was quite a catch. Well, they think they never use it. It has to have an axe put through it or something, doesn't it? Officially.
Officially, but of course we all know what
That's why
really happens to it.
various people have well-equipped shacks.
Yeah.
Well, we can't really say that.
No, I suppose not. We haven't said which people. Just
Could be any people.
Just the mystery. These mystery people. They, them. The people behind the glass booth.
Look, I'd like to build a little booth like Max Rowley's got.
And put Mr. Dave Stewart across the top of it.
That's right.
And eat chops and things in there.
And then people can come up and go onto the glass. I could build one out in the front yard so everyone can walk by and, be like an outside booth and they could say hello and come in.
Be asked the cold $6,000 question. Put on these big Pioneer headphones which you can hear the music blasting out of. Remember in Pickabox when they used to wear those things?
No.
They were uncomfortable, those great big bulbous headphones.
Oh, they are a bit.
But you could always hear when the Jones plug was answering questions.
Yeah?
When, they used to play music through the other guy's headphones, and you could always hear it whenever they stopped talking.
Oh, they did that so he wouldn't be able to hear the question.
That's right.
That's quite a good idea. Then they used to put people in little booths too. The little glass booths.
Oh, that was a cold $6,000 question.
Honestly.
They used to go, and you see the clock go tick-tock, tick, and they'd have all this stupid music. And then the weak would go and say, and what's your answer there? And you're wrong.
The weak.
Roland Week.
Oh, yes, we know who you're talking about.
I wonder what happens to all these people. I suppose they get in that bus like the Gunston did the other night.
Oh, yes, and just drive away.
Full of old TV comments. Like the Newton and...
Fig
Actually,
Newtons.
he's not old. Well, I suppose there's people on their way out or something. I don't know. Ooh, might be a full libel there.
Now, we haven't, but we can't be...
No, not libel. Libel's written slander.
What is libel? But you can have libel by saying something over the air.
No, libel's written. Slander is saying bad things.
Well, could we be had up for slander or what?
I don't know. I don't think we said anything that's that bad.
No, I mean, we just said that certain people might be on their way out. And anyone, who are we talking about?
Yes.
It's not, we haven't said that such and such of such and such an address is
Mainly because we don't know their addresses.
They're in the unlisted book.
That's right.
Otherwise I'd be getting tings all day.
Can you imagine that unlisted phone book if there is such a thing?
Be quite an interesting one to get, wouldn't it?
I suppose it's just a file thing. And yes, imagine all sorts of people that would be in it.
You've got to pay more money to get an unlisted book, don't you? I think.
I don't know. I suppose you would. Because it would mean they'd have to press another button or something. It takes all of 1 second, so that's time and a half.
Yeah.
It has to be taken to the nearest hour.
Yes, that's typical of the services there.
Of course, people are spewing because the cost of putting entries in the pages that look like they've been in the sun for too long are becoming excessive.
Really?
Yes.
But they're pink now. Oh no, they're yellow. What are they? Anyway, they're becoming
They were
excessive.
pink, because the pink used to always fade in the sun too. And so you end up with white pages.
You get an old telephone book that's been out in an outside booth, and they're just all the same colour.
That's right. All the colour disappears.
And anyway, that's right. They used to be pink, now they made them yellow, and they got those two useless books. There's nothing in either of them.
Look, why on earth did they have to go and do that?
It's a stupid idea, I reckon.
It means you've got to have 8.
8?
You've got to have both of them for each area. How ridiculous. And it means more cost to the Tysers because they've got to put in...
I reckon it was a typical move.
Because no other country in the world's done that. In most countries, those pages are stuck in the back of the normal phone book.
Yeah. I think it's a typical move by certain people who tend to have
who want
rather...
to make lots of money by raising a loan.
Who wants to do that?
Oh, you must have seen the ads. They're on every 2 seconds last
Hang on, I'll just plug... There, I've got you direct, so if you'd like to go through... Oh, that company, yes. Oh, on the ancient replay missions, yes.
We next it through.
You
they
are.
had these people on the advertisement dialing a number, and then there's all this dramatic music comes on the phone at the other end, rings as if it's some...
Oh, that's right, some
super
miracle.
marvel that it actually gets through.
Well, it will be soon.
That's why they thought it was so good.
And they had old pictures of old phones and things too.
That's right.
They had quite a few things like that.
Yes.
So in actual fact, it was quite an interesting program, but turn that down a little bit there. No, I thought that was quite good, really, the way. But I think it is stupid the way they've got all these telephone books now. I mean, you've got to have a whole library to dial somebody up. And what's a nuisance? You try and dial up a company or something, and you look up the book, and it says, look under commercials business. You look into that book, and it says, look under buyer's guide. Then you look in there, and you're just going round and round. Then you throw all those books away and just look up in the alphabetical index. And
yes.
in fact, I could never make yellow pages. They're rather too complicated for me, I'm afraid.
It might as well not exist.
Yes.
You know, they should just have a simple listing of each company.
Yes.
And not having this display advertising and everything.
Mm.
And they could cut the size right down, stick it in the back of the normal phone book.
That's right.
Why they don't, I just don't know.
I suppose it's typical
money, I suppose. It's
government thinking, I guess.
Yes. Oh, dear.
Don't tell this lampy is smashed. Anyway, it's certainly very warm at the moment. I better fix up this denser mic. I don't know what the trouble is.
Take it round to the kilt, he fixed the
I was seriously thinking of doing that, just inviting myself to the kilt, because he's such a nice man, and putting up with his
stories.
Yes, and I might get the mic fixed. And I'll take the 2-metre converter around there too. So if you're listening, Kilt, I might pay a visit to you shortly, next few weeks.
Fixed and then not go back again.
I could take the big mitters around, they'll take everything around. And what else needs fixing here? Oh, quite a few things that I'm sure Kilt, with all his test equipment, would certainly be in quite a good, would be the person to see, with all that technical background from Tasmania.
Yes, down by the sea.
Hobart, 7ZL, and
New Zealand.
Oh, yes.
ZL, we're trying to work out how on earth they got ZL from Hobart.
7ZL, well, I don't know.
And ZR.
7ZL, well, maybe Hobart was called something starting with a Z. It was called...
I suppose it might have been, but there's 2 commercial stations, if I look at my map on the wall, HO and HT, which makes sense.
Well, maybe they got the H's before the Nationals did.
Of course, there's big spews on, because there's no FM in those cities. Have you seen that lately?
No, I haven't.
It's been in the paper.
What cities don't have FM these days?
capital cities Perth and Hobart.
What about Darwin?
And Darwin, of course. And Brisbane doesn't have a national station.
Oh, they just have the community one, whatever it is.
So...
But there's nothing stopping Hobart, some cabina face getting emissions there, is there?
No, they're spewing because there's no national station. They'll be spewing when it comes.
That's right. They don't realise
just how bad it is.
Yes.
Just what they're not missing out on. Gee, the announcers on there are terrible.
Look.
It sounds like the people in the record library are doing the announcements.
It is, actually.
Oh, that's why.
I think you'll find that most of the people on that missions were originally from the library or sound effects or someplace like that.
Yeah. So they had this woman on last night with this just completely deadpan voice. She didn't even say anything interesting about the record. She just announced them. There's all this dead air and...
It's a very click little group, so I believe.
Is it?
Everyone's spewing about it because they've got no talent. There's no... It's just these people make their own programs and put them on.
Well, let's just hope there's commercial FM broadcasting soon.
Yes, why don't we apply for a bill licence? You just play all your Kai recordings over the FM meters. I actually think there'd be quite a demand if you just had middle-of-the-road music.
Oh, there would be. There's so many people gone out and bought them. Actually, they're improving. Every night from about 4:30 to 6:30, they do have middle-of-the-road missions.
Look, we listen to that here, and it's quite a good mission. It's quite a good program, actually. And they have
the only thing is some of the singing leaves a bit to be desired.
Does it?
But it sounds just like 3AK a lot of the time.
But it's good to have it on backgrounds in stereo, and
yes.
The fish are just driven into the mitters. They're parking their car in the mitting room.
Watching it all blow up.
Yes. Hope no one touches it. But as you say, they are getting a little bit better. But I reckon they should unprogram. They shouldn't have... Well, I don't know what they should have, but it's rather awkward, really.
Yes. The thing is, they're stopping people... Yeah, there's nothing to stop other people getting licences, or is there? I mean, they mightn't be willing to issue any more now.
Well, I think there is. I don't think it's very easy to get a licence.
The thing is, with a national station, especially since they promised they'd extend the missions to there, in fact, by now they should have had it there and they'd be starting in the country.
But since then, there's been a lot of problems, don't forget.
Oh, I know. That's why.
Yes, that's why. I mean, if it hadn't started when it did, if they were going to start it around about now, they would have had to postpone the whole program, most likely.
Oh, we wouldn't even be ready yet, would they? I think it's 1978 they were going to start. Imagine putting it in UHF. What a ridiculous thing to do.
But what I mean to say is, just as well they got the project underway before certain...
Oh, I see. Yes, before cut missions.
Yes.
It's a wonder it even got on, because...
It's the sort of thing you'd think they'd say, oh, we'll have to... dice this because it's costing too much and it's only got 1% of ratings, so we don't really need it.
Yeah, that's right.
In fact, they could do that, I suppose, if things got really tough. Not that it costs very much. It's certainly practically an unmanned service.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't have people up at Mount Dandenong all night watching the mitters, baking away in his little grey cabinet.
They've got a monitor receivers in the switch room.
Have they?
It cost $2,000 or something incredible.
Yes.
And anyway, it's a little typical 19-inch rack, about 3 inches high and very slim and everything. And the silly thing is it's locked. What's going on? What's causing that? It's locked on that frequency.
Yeah.
And you can't listen to, not that there'd be anything to listen to, but you can't tune anywhere else. And it's got this miniature, about a 1-inch square little grill, which has got a 2-inch speaker behind it.
Oh,
and you turn it up and you get rattle missions. Anyway, it's stereo and you patch it through, but the thing is, they installed the off-air receivers, but there isn't any tenors, so all you hear is buzz missions in the background.
Ridiculous.
But do you think it would have been better to actually just go down to Nat Sound and buy a $50 tuner and stick that up there?
Yes.
Oh, it has got a calibrated VU meter on the front panel, that's right.
No tenors. How
Yes.
I don't know.
There's not very good reception in that particular room, actually.
Well, why don't they just stick antennas on the roof?
Well, it took them about 2 years to get a TV tennis installed, and it's pointing the wrong way, so...
Why would they want a TV tennis?
For the TV.
Oh, I see.
So it gets all ghosts on the TV, you see.
Do I have a TV in the switch room?
Good night, see you!
Oh, you mean this is the one the commissioner watches?
That's right, yes. So it's all very interesting, really.
They used to have bits of wire, because that was what the one in the studio was like.
That's right.
I remember that was all wire hanging out.
Yes, it's very bad receivers. That it blinks on and off all the time.
Well, why doesn't it get taken out? It doesn't. It's not meant to be in there.
I think it is. Well, I don't know what it's all
It doesn't
about.
look very professional having a TV set in there. It looks ridiculous.
No. Because I disconnected the speaker in the TV.
So you couldn't listen to it?
Well, that, and also just in case someone left it on when they were doing
Oh, I see.
announcements.
Uh-huh.
It'd be a bit bad having Channel 9 in the background. Yes.
It was only there for the cricket, wasn't it?
Something like that.
So you could actually watch it instead of just getting bored listening to it.
Yes, get doubly bored.
Of course, that law will be starting again soon. Just like Parliament.
What a bore missions. Yes. Well, there was just about 2 hours of just noises, talking noises the other day when they were doing their sums and were practicing divisions.
Mm-hmm.
And you just heard just noise and
Shuffling noise, and occasionally you hear this burst of laughter.
hang on. What's the trouble?
David didn't ring.
No?
I thought he might have been sent.
No, he didn't.
Okay, well, you'll be off in the morning early.
Yes, that's correct. See you then. You pull the door shut? I'll be finishing soon anyhow.
Put your car off.
Yeah. Do you want to pull the door
Yes,
shut?
that's correct. You get 10 marks.
Thank you. Yes, that's. Apparently somebody might have been giving rings, but I don't think it would have got very far.
Well, you got plenty of rings.
Yes, it could have been who it was.
But I doubt it somehow.
We don't hear much from Mr. Wetsdale these days.
I think he's been so offended.
Has he really?
Oh, yes.
Didn't he like the way we treated him?
Oh, I don't know. Probably not, I suppose.
Well, look, I think I'll sign off and clear now anyhow.
Righto.
We've sort of run out of things not to speak about.
No, it's not that. It's just that there have been so many interruptions tonight.
Yeah, it just didn't get off to a good ground. I'm a bit tired. I would like to have a couple of hours sleep before I
Yes.
go to work.
I wonder if Mark and Philip are still there. I sort of cut them off and didn't think any more about it, which is rather rude of me. Sorry about that if they're still listening. I sort of just picked up the microphone and just started talking and turned them down. I'll just turn on channel B again. See if they're there. Oh, they are.
Hello.
Oh, hello there.
Good day.
Yes, how are you again?
Oh, I'm alright. I was just sort of about to go off to sleep myself, actually.
Yeah, I'm going to go off to sleep.
Yeah, we had all sorts of troubles with other people coming up on Channel 40 with spurious missions and things.
Well, I'll get my verters going and we'll be able to work crossband between any part of 2
Apparently
metres.
that chap was getting into all the repeaters and everything.
Has he got a spurious missions?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose he'll get a blue ticket on Monday.
Yeah, he might. I don't know. But you seem to have to work very hard to get a blue ticket these days. Have you ever had one?
You'd really like one, wouldn't you, Mark?
Yeah. I'd love one.
Why would you like a blue ticket?
Oh, because the walls here are very blank and we don't have anything to pin on the wall.
And you'd like a blue ticket from the department.
Oh, from Uncle A, which is good.
But they're not really very nice things to have, you know.
Well, have you got one? You've only got a Magna Carta, haven't you?
I've never really had an actual bluey, no.
No, they're very. You've got to be in a very.
I've just had.
exclusive league to get one.
I've just had Deenigrams, which are basically questioning what's going on. That's about all.
Yeah. I think the blue tickets are a bit like that, but then I think they're a bit more fun because the branches had 5.
5?
Yeah.
What sort of offence? Well, what sort of things did you get these tickets for?
Oh, someone came up on his on the branch.
Sorry, the microphone fell off.
The telephone exchange is hopeless.
Yeah, someone said the rig had gone fat, and apparently when the lemon meringue pie were listening, they thought it was something else was said.
Ah, yes.
And the branch got a bluey.
Yes, I see what you mean.
That's the only one I've seen, but apparently he's had a few of them.
I can imagine what was really said there. It's probably they did say that. Anyway, yes, amazing how you do get these tickets.
Yeah, well, anyway, I suppose I'll get one day.
Well, you're trying hard enough. You won't be for lack of trying.
No, well, this is right. The Agar got one.
What was that about?
Oh, he was having an in-band crossband to the branch.
Yes.
And apparently they said he had too many long periods with low modulation.
Is that what they officially said?
Yeah.
Isn't it ridiculous? Obviously somebody complains and they've got to make something out of it.
Yeah, well, this is right.
Too many long periods of low modulation.
But it held no water at all, the argument, because it doesn't say, all it says is that your signal must be modulated. And his signal was modulated. It didn't matter whether it was low or not.
Yeah. But I must admit, those in-band crossbands did make a mess of the band. Particularly anyone who lives around here.
Yes. Is someone on me?
Must be. Get them off. Better kick them off.
Well, I could, but I can't be bothered walking to the other room to put
No.
on the high power switch.
Yeah, anyway,
Oh, just a sec. Curious. No one said anything.
Anyway, why don't you just go write a nice letter to one of these men and they might give you a ticket and you can request what you want them to give you a bluey about.
Oh, that's an idea. I hadn't thought of that.
Like, what would you like? Big power music missions or
Yeah, that'd be nice.
something that really has a lot of glamour to it?
A lot of prestige, yeah.
What, you're going to steal a prestige?
Which address? What address? Did you say?
No, I said, are you going to steal a prestige?
Oh, the prestige, yeah.
Not that you'd want one.
Anyway, that could be quite good. You just write them a letter and say you'd like a bluey.
Yeah, I'll have to... Mate, see, I could get one in advance that way.
Yes.
And then if someone did make claims, it'd save them the expense of having to send me another bluey.
Yeah.
Who's that? Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's someone with this unfortunate sense of humour.
Yes, they do indeed. Anyway, you sound like... Do you have to go to work tomorrow, do you?
Yeah.
That's, what, early?
In about... What's time... What's the...
It's almost 1 o'clock. We're getting ready to do our 1 o'clock time call.
We'll put it this way. In about 3.5 hours.
Yeah. Who's doing the cast tomorrow, Paul?
The long.
The long. Oh, I heard you saying he now looks different. Had a change in appearance. Were you saying that?
It's 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
The pips on they aren't on anymore.
Ah.
So they had to come across with multi-tone material.
Yeah, anyway, that's interesting.
Yeah, Dave?
Yes.
Did you say that the long had his hair looked different?
Oh, yes.
Oh, so I won't recognise him if I see him now.
Well, I'll let you hear what he said about it.
Oh, you've got TV missions, have you? You're going to watch the cast.
can't find the appropriate segment.
Oh, not to worry anyway.
Well, I might just go off now anyhow, go
Yeah,
clear.
okay, well, thanks for just sort of switching me back in so I can wish you both good night.
Thanks, Mark.
And I'll see you soon, I suppose.
Okay.
Okay, see you later, Paul.
See you later, Mark. And we say evening to Philip, if he's still in. Oh, obviously so interested.
Well...
Yes, well, this is what happens from servicing televisions too long. Ooh, is that me, is it?
I don't know who the fearing carrier is.
I don't know. I can plug phones in there and turn up the audio. Because there's only one of me.
Who's that speaking, Mark or Philip?
Mark.
It's hard to tell the difference, you know.
Look, you know, what I was trying to say before you went off at one stage was when I went downstairs to get my drink, and I was listening off 160, and I know what my voice sounds like because of tapes, what my voice sounds like when I go through this rig on 6. You sound the same, and so does Philip. Everyone sounds the same. It's got this sameness about it.
Well, I'd noticed that too, actually, because...
A tin sound, a sort of a tinny sound.
Yeah, I remember when I first met you, Paul, and I walked up to you and I didn't know who you were. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
I always heard your voice through your rig, and your voice didn't sound like that.
If I go off instantly, it'll be the minute it's wrecked, so I won't be bothered to come back on again.
Oh, that's fair enough. Yes, we wouldn't make you go in and fix it again. But anyway, see, I just thought you didn't know what you sounded like there, Paul. So, you know, I just sort of thought you sounded like your 6-metre rig does. And so when this funny chap sort of, I walked up to him and I didn't know, and he said something and it didn't sound like anyone I'd ever heard. So I asked him who he was.
And he said he was Beck Missions.
He said he was the Beck, yeah. And he knew who I was, of course.
Yes.
Anyway, not to worry. We'll all go off and clear, and we shall say evenings to all.
Oh, well, I'll just get evenings from you there, Beck, then I'll go off and clear.
Yes, hang on, I'll just pick up the mic in a sec. There it is. I think I'll just go on a bit of a picnic now to finish up with.
Okay.
And,
I think I'm working Friday and Saturday nights next week, so I may not be on.
we've got October tests coming up next week too.
Well, you won't be any missions.
I mean the week after, not
except from the branch.
Coming. So I shouldn't really be doing any missions. Shouldn't. Mind you.
Yes, shouldn't.
But
you are.
Well, who knows?
You're going to get your hop on the wagon and go out to the picnic ground.
Yes, and go
through Gisborne or whatever it was.
Wood End.
With the TV antennas on the chimney.
Because it's meant to be 1900, but it's really 1975.
They must have put gravel over the bitumen road.
Yes, apparently they did.
Must have been a terrible thing trying to wipe it up again.
I read in the paper an article about it, and apparently they've received quite a number of people, a number of letters from a number of people who've said that they saw the TV antennas and the power lines.
It wasn't very well camouflaged, although everything else was, but that was quite obvious, that bit.
Yes, it was rather.
Well, maybe there was an experimenter there who was interested in VHF.
Trying to do TV missions like the long screen TV.
Yes, I think that could be what it's all about, actually.
Could be.
But I don't think so.
It's interesting. They hardly used any music in that. And they're both classical pieces. There was no original music composed for that.
Oh no. It went across very well though.
Yes. Trembling missions at the start.
Actually, there wasn't anything very original in the whole lot, except a lot of nice camera work.
Yes, the photography was good.
And ants eating cake and stuff.
And the fact that it was something that you already knew, that was probably... Look, I reckon if you showed it overseas, to people who didn't know Hanging Rock, it wouldn't interest them very much.
Oh, I don't know. I've never been to Hanging Rock.
You haven't?
No.
Oh.
Have you?
Oh, yes.
you have a picnic there one day?
We had lunch. Well, it's a bit different today, as you can imagine. But
I like the koala bear stuck up a tree too. There's a what on top?
A kiosk on top of it now.
Oh no!
And all arrows saying this way to the Hanging Rock missions.
They
No,
must
it's
have.
not. It's not really.
There's no kiosk up there.
No.
Oh, that's good. I'd be most upset if there
Oh,
was.
there's one in the picnic grounds, but there's none at the
Yeah.
top.
When they came into the picnic ground, it looked like they put one of these $2 koala bears stuck up a fork of a tree. I'm pretty sure it was just, a stuffed bear.
A fake koala bear.
Yeah. It was just sitting there, not eating any leaves. Because there was a lizard walked over someone's foot, wasn't it?
Yes, that's right, a lizard. I was sort of walking around the place.
Doing lizard missions. Because they've banned lizard races now. In Cunnamulla or somewhere.
Why? Was it cruel to lizards?
Something like that, yeah, they banned them. They have to get a special lizard race permit now. Sounds a bit...
People betting on lizards.
Well, they do, yes.
Hanging Rock.
Yes, Crossbands at Hanging Rock.
People all disappear up this path.
Yes, well, what really did happen?
Well, one never knows. Because they had that bloke from Homicide on as the doctor, and he couldn't make of it.
No, he just shrugged his shoulders.
And Norman Gunston was walking around there trying to push people out of the way.
He was?
Didn't you recognise him? He's one of the policemen.
The Guns?
Yes.
No, I didn't.
I must have... The first time I saw it...
Have you seen it twice?
Yeah, the first time I saw it was with school.
How come you always see these things 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4 times? I think, how many times did you see The Quake?
Oh, I saw that 5, but that was an exceptional
How
film.
can you see a film more than... How
I
can
was
you
starting
do
to wear
that?
thin after the 5th time. I got sick of it.
I'll say.
Oh, I know a few people who go and see films more than once. If it's a really good film, there's nothing wrong with that. Must admit I don't watch films on TV very much.
Oh, yes.
But very much at all, actually. For some reason, it just seems to lose everything. But what was I talking about? Oh, Hanging Rock missions. The first time I saw it was in the city, and when the Gunston came on, excuse me, I'm losing my voice again. Too many missions on Friday night, I'm afraid. Everyone goes, that's Norman Gunston. Oh, it's Norman Gunston. You hear all this murmuring all throughout the theatre. All these people saying, there's Norman Gunston. But then when we went down to see it at the classic theatre with the old AWA speakers hanging off the wall, and the curtain which grinds to an open, and the distorted wowie background music without Rosemary and Tony. Nobody made a mention of it.
I suppose they expected him to come out with a microphone and start making silly interviews of people.
Yes, well, I was sort of expecting that. It didn't look too much like him because the bloke who plays the part of Norman Gunston doesn't really look quite like that. Almost that bad.
Do you mean he's not a real person?
Oh, no. It's an act.
Oh, no. You mean I thought it was a real man who used to walk around like that.
Are you joking? I hope so.
No. You've shattered my illusions. And what about Father Christmas?
Father Christmas, well, I hate to say that he also doesn't exist.
Oh, what about the Easter
No.
Easter Molten? Easter Rabbit, the bunny.
The Easter Bunny found his way into Kentucky Fried Chicken years ago.
Well, this is...
And the Tooth Fairy, well, yes, well. So all the money that used to get stuck in your pillow for having tooths falling out just didn't come from anywhere except your parents' pockets.
Anybody who's listening, I hope there's no shattered their illusions.
The sewing machine will be crying now. might fall off the table like the iron and go for a crack.
Yes.
Or crack this perfect sort of...
I won't be able to listen to the missions. Hey, look, you're home tomorrow. Do you reckon you could have it chords, tapes ready?
I don't know whether I'll be up in time, judging by the...
Because apparently every week there's mentions.
Oh, there are. There's always a spew on.
Yeah. I can take the GX in and have a listen, I suppose. But I can't hear many people from in there.
I wish the museum would get a 160 metre sievers, because they're illegal at the moment.
Yeah, I'll say.
And they've got no sievers for 160 metres. They don't adjust their receiving apparatus to maximum sensitivity.
Well, they do. They just adjust their... Well, but it depends what your apparatus is.
They haven't got any. Because the old Marconi sievers is sitting at the Wireless Institute Centre, as it's now called.
They don't call it the rooms now.
No, it's not called the rooms.
People stuff their lunches in there. If they're given this biscuit, they don't want to eat it, but don't want to offend the adcock. They go at the back and throw all these old biscuits into the Marconi sieve and close its lid.
What, they're niece biscuits, tail niece biscuits, all the sugar falling off. So they're revolting. As they drink things out of the cafe bar with the water that's...
That cafe bar is
about
hopeless.
A quarter of the temperature it's meant to be, so they have this horrible cold coffee and things.
Yes.
Because people used to go and stick sugar in the coffee thing and mix it all up.
Ah.
So people who were on a diet and wanted black coffee, well, it was just too bad. Cafe bars are another dangerous form of vending machine because they're worse than the Flinders Street station where they might poison you. With the return of the thing. Actually, I think somebody must have tipped over their cup inside the vending machine on Friday because the door had all coffee all over it. A little window flat up thing. I got it all over my hands. I was not impressed. Yes. But when it's dishing out the hot chocolate, it all goes for a rev. Because it says on the thing, whipped hot chocolate.
It goes for a whip.
It's meant to be whipping it. I think that's why the motors will get...
Maybe there's a spot in there.
But the thing is, that's right, I think it's a bit slow because it starts revving after all the things, just about all of it's come out. It's also very tricky because it sort of dies away to a trickle and then floods out right at the end again. And I have seen people stick their hand in there and they get scolded. So go, ouch. You hear the window go bang.
And they probably drop their coffee on the floor.
Yeah. Not as bad as when they drop sausage rolls on the floor and step on them.
Who does this?
At school, you see people, they step on one end of the sausage rolls, all the meat comes out the other. It looks quite revolting.
Just like a tico.
Yeah.
I mean, a harpo roll.
Harpo roll. And they drop it down the Grave Street subway. Tip hot coffee on people.
I suppose that would be an enjoyable thing to do.
That gets me somewhat annoyed at Subway because it's not meant to close late. And it usually closes about 1:45 because they're too lazy to stay there till the exact time.
What, can you be locked inside?
No, but it's just that, the entrance is locked.
Oh, yes.
Which is a bit stupid. Because it's the entrance I like to enter.
In stock, October the 1st, 1896.
Oh, that's your table thing.
Isn't it incredible? Is it October the 1st yet? It's not. We better have I think I'll have a celebration crossband on the 1st of October.
80 years.
Is that all it is? Yes, that's right. But when you think about it, this table thing, when that was built, there wasn't any missions. It's pretty incredible when you think of it that way, isn't it?
So since it was a new table, it's slowly been indoctrinated into missions.
But no, doesn't it... I mean, somebody built that 80 years ago.
Yes.
Or was in stock at then anyhow. Could be older. It just doesn't look particularly old, does it?
Does it have a thing on the side saying used before
No, it has...
1905 or something?
It has all European labour, an all European labour sticker on it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's
Just
yeah, they were in those days. But just think, when this was built, you know what? Caulfield was just a paddock.
Yes. It probably had to come out in a sailing ship with big sails in it.
Could be. And there weren't any... The Wright brothers hadn't gone for a fly yet.
No, Moorabbin Airport would have just been a marsh.
And the Henry would have been much younger. I just think most of the people we know weren't even...
Around.
Yeah. It's incredible looking at that. Now, when I look at it, I just think all this history just comes to me. And I say, it's only 80 years ago, but things have changed so much in that time.
Yes.
Far more than the previous 80 years before that.
I'll just think when you're a G and about 70 years old.
Whoa.
Getting tings continuously.
We won't have bells on the phone, and it'll just be a...
The screen.
Oh, yes, these faces keep coming up, popping up on the screen.
You see all these black or...
These masked figures come up.
And you have to have them in the corner because you'd be on TV when you're doing Crossbands.
Oh, that's right. So they don't get shown on the screen.
Yes, you'd have to stick it around the corner so it wouldn't be in view. Oh, that'd be hilarious. I think we've talked about the subject before, to have a number of things you could do if Crossbands are on TV. Have split screen like the Kennedy and the Lane singing a song.
Oh, yes.
They thought that was so good then, no doubt.
Yes, I suppose
Today
they
you
did.
wouldn't think anything of it. And in the corner you have the ting counter, and they have the phone in another corner, and all this sort of thing.
Yes. But 80 years ago, there was no quarters. Well, was there were cylinder quarters then, wasn't it?
Yes.
So, someone might have played a cylinder on top of this table in 1896. But this is pretty incredible. Like all those nails there. There could be things there. Well, obviously the wood must be over 100 years old.
Unless they had fast-growing trees.
Yes, but I'd say most of the wood in that thing would have been at least over 14 years old. You can just imagine what Glen Huntly Road was like in those days. And the first of the red trains rattling out of Jollymont, the gas lamps glowing.
I wonder they didn't catch on fire. I wonder if all the hooligans used to try and...
Bash them in. I'd really like to get a set of lamps off red trains to have in the rooms of a house. You have those twin china, shade things that just rattle, but hang down off this boob thing off the roof. You know those ones?
They're not very decorative.
No, but they look rather interesting. Then you just got the ordinary thing that just hangs down with a big boob at the end, the big glass thing.
Ah, yes.
And then you've got... What else you got? You got the original gas type.
And then the modernised gas type.
Yes. Then the trams. They didn't spend much money. They just stuck a socket in the roof, and sprayed funny coloured paint all over it.
Yes. I believe during the war that they used to cover up almost all of the light except the little tiny hole, which made the tiniest little glow.
Which hole where?
In tram lights and train lights.
Oh, you mean on the front panel, the headlight?
No, inside.
Yeah?
So that there was only the very faintest of glow.
Well, apparently they did that to it. They put out all the street lights, and your car lamp had to be painted black and all this stupid thing. And your bicycle lamp, how ridiculous! We've got a book of regulations here, and it says your bicycle lamp has to be, you've got to cut a bit of cardboard with a 2/8 slit through it, you know, as if they're not dull enough already.
They see this dim light going along the road. The Japanese go, "Oh, ha, we must bomb, but in the right."
Yes, because you wouldn't be able to have a fluorescent tube up on top of your tower.
No, because then they'd just think it was a branch and bomb him.
Yeah, it must have been awkward when there was everything was dark.
Two bombs involved.
You couldn't have
Grenade.
you know, lights in your car and.
Yes, I can imagine walking around the street. Apparently, of course, there were quite a few consequences of having all the lights off.
I can imagine.
It wasn't very good at all to be out at
Not
night.
Not that the old incandescent street lamps did any good anyhow.
Yes, I can hardly imagine it would have. It must have been terrible.
On their swirly little.
On the super wrought iron, jazzed up designs.
Yeah. It used to light up the pole, and that was about all.
Yes. It's a 40-watt light globe.
That's right. I remember they changed them around, and they were just 40-watt lamps in them.
Actually, there are a few places now which aren't fluorescent or something better. What a difference just having a fluorescent light made.
Yeah. That's for sure. The other ones, they didn't really put any light, they just were an indicator, so you wouldn't drive into the pole. If you stood underneath, you might be able to look at a newspaper, the headlines. But I remember when we had them down the street here, they weren't particularly bright at all, actually. Quite dull.
They weren't very John Bright.
No.
Who got the snack? Yes.
Of course, I used to have little street lamp poles in Huntley Station with little shade things.
That's right. I remember when they ripped them out and put in the fluorescent ones.
That's right. And they just had the old poles hanging on the grass.
We actually brought one home because they were just lying there.
What, a shade?
After they got ripped out, yeah.
I would have liked to have got the whole set of poles and put street lamps in the backyard or
Up and
something.
down the driveway.
Yeah, one every 10 feet, and light them up at night, and have the Glen Huntley signs all on them.
You remember they were just sort of lying around outside the station for a while.
And they had these official insulator things on them.
Yes, that's right.
Would have been good to just stick them up and down the driveway. Would have looked a laugh. With 22-watt lamps in them or something.